The Danes love to work. They have ambition, a drive to excel and create beautiful things with that certain Nordic touch. But they also love to not work. Where do they go? They pick up their kids and spend time with their family. They have a hobby. They do some sports, get out into the fresh air, the clear waters and the sunlight. They get 5 weeks of paid vacation and 12 months of shared maternity leave. Do they ever get work done? Yes, Denmark has one of the most productive workforces in the EU and one of the happiest in the world. Love your work. Love your life. Welcome to Denmark.
And a very welcome also from here, participating companies and talents from all over the world. Welcome to Demant. That's where we are today. And today I will be your moderator. My name is Natasha Krone. Usually I'm a news anchor at TV2 Denmark. I will take you through a unique day of both keynote speakers right here and also debates between young global talents like yourself watching from all over the world today, and also innovative Danish companies. And today, let me mention the companies that are joining us here from Demant today. It's, of course, Demant, the host of this event, and also it's Christian Hansen, Maersk, Novozymes, KPMG, Wunderman Thompson, Bayer, and Novo Nordisk. They're all represented here today, and you will meet representatives from all these companies later today. This year's conference will span over 2 days, and we have decided to live stream the event, like all events at this point are, of course, live streamed. We would love to see you all here today. We hope we will see so many of you maybe next year. The whole event will be live streamed right here from this beautiful hall at Demant. I want to remind you all to be active on social media. You can actually participate today. I will look at my iPad and I will use Slido. You can use the hashtag IntTalent2021, and then you can go to Slido with your most burning questions, and I will look at my iPad throughout the day, and I will put your questions to both the young talents and the representative executives from the companies. And please help me. I did, make some questions myself, but I know your questions probably are much better and much more relevant. So just go to Slido all day. I'm really pleased to introduce you all to the CEO from Demant, Søren Nielsen.
Thank you very much, Natasha, and welcome everybody, both out there all around the world and to people here in the house today. I would have loved that we could all be here, but just like all other events today, they are partly live and partly, or they're all live, but partly physical and partly virtual. A very warm welcome to all of you out there. This is a very important day to show out how Denmark is doing, why Denmark is a wonderful opportunity for global talents to pursue career and opportunities to live out exactly their dreams with whatever profession and background you have. We are here today in the Demant headquarters in one of 3 buildings, a newly built one. We have barely used it. I think we started using it in October and sent everybody home in February. So we are very happy that we today can use the house for this event. And why is a talent conference important? It is really important because Denmark is a small country. We are only 5 million people, and we try to understand the full world. So global and international employees coming into a headquarter here in Denmark is key and essential to make sure we have a true diverse mindset, a true diverse workforce that can help us work towards a global world where, again, a small nation like Denmark foster a number of really big global players in a number of industries, and we all share the ambition across all these talented businesses to grow and expand and use Denmark as a starting point for further expanding our global businesses. I'm sure I speak on everybody's behalf, whether it is in shipping, whether it's brewing beer, whether it's making insulin, or whether it's making hearing devices. We are all full of ambitions. We are here to grow our businesses. We are here to do a better place of the world. world, but not the least, of course, based on a number of talents, expand what we are really good at. Many Danish companies have long history, have roots way back. There was a founder someday or one day that got a good idea, started a small business, and have grown them to where they are today. And I'm going to speak a little bit about what it actually is that often leads to this long-term thinking, this long-term perspective for Danish businesses. But a warm welcome to all of you. I will do another 5-10 minutes of quick introduction, and then I will leave the rest of the program today to a number of, I'm sure, very well prepared people to drive today's discussions and interactions. Before we move into it, what am I going to speak about? I'm going to speak a little bit about two things that I'm very passionate about. Demant is a medtech company. I'm very passionate about the whole life science sector. It's something Denmark is good at, and I'll speak a little bit to why we are that. Then I will also speak about sustainability. Being in life science in itself is a big part of making the world a better place, but we also have to make sure we lift our part of making the world a sustainable place, so there is also a tomorrow for all of us. And moving into that, just a little bit about the Demant company. Demant also have a long history, more than 100 years. The company is founded by a family where Camilla, the mother of, or the wife of the founder, was hearing impaired, and back then there was very little you could do. She lived in isolation, had great communication difficulties, but based on that one story, the family got into hearing care, and today we run a true global company that are active in more than 30 countries and across a number of businesses related to hearing healthcare, from diagnostic, hearing aids, actually fitting and dispensing devices, into implantation for people that are really profoundly hearing impaired, either from child or through life. So a very broad portfolio, and also during the past 20 years have moved into a modern headset business where we also connect people through modern virtual communication equipment, and the timing is definitely good for that. We have all gotten more and more dependent of virtual collaboration. I don't just see it as something coming out of pandemic. It is really the way to do global international collaboration, is to have much better facilities to actually feel you're together even though you're not. Then we can bring in all the perspectives of the world when decisions are taken, discussion takes place. So this is definitely also a significant part of the future. We are today operating more than 30 countries. We have way past 16,000 employees, and would it have been a normal year, we would be a 17-18 billion Danish kroner company, fast growing, so one of the larger businesses in Denmark. You can see we run a number of different businesses within the business and have grown to this level. Basically, it took us 100 years to get to the first billion, and then we have spent the last 15 getting to the 18. So I think this is again showing growth, aspiration for growth, and this is again what you would find with many Danish companies. But let's move on. We are a technology group. We work to make the world a better place through helping people that are hard of hearing, that without help would live in isolation. Maybe they wouldn't even know they have a hearing loss. So diagnostics of people, diagnosing people with hearing loss, making equipment for that, making solutions, make a life change to so many people around the world. And I think this is just an illustrative, again, example of the many good things that are done in companies here in Denmark in the life science sector, whether it is helping out of hearing care, whether it's helping out on diabetes, all these chronic type of diseases. We have really good, solid, root-founded understanding and insight to how we deal with in Denmark. We help more than 2 million people a year with hearing loss. We screen more than, probably 200 or 300 million people around the world with our equipment. So we are deeply, deeply into the core foundation of making the world a better place. And then a little about this cluster here in Denmark of life science. Why is it is unique? Denmark is a very unique society that for more than 40 years have basically registered all aspects of health, diseases on a personal identification number, and all records are kept. And that's really a gold mine in really digging into, really long-term investigation studies, etc., on how different diseases correlate, what treatment works. When you treat your hearing loss, you change your lifestyle. When you change your lifestyle, that has shown to be a correlation to less risk of dementia, etc., etc. And therefore, understanding really the core of things, data, etc., is key. So digitalization, the cluster, there's a strong pharma element, there's a strong medtech element, and we're really good at bringing innovation into healthcare and driving forward very big companies compared again to the size of Denmark, and that is all the way down to a really strong basis on the universities, really strong education, but also a lot of investments from the companies into talent, into development of people, into making sure there is an innovative and collaborative work environment. And that's, I would say, the key stronghold here in Denmark is the way you operate. You will find a very open work environment, a very collaborative culture where people's opinion count, where your value, what you're good at, is brought into the equation in the search of ever better solutions. So sustainability high on the agenda, making the world a better place, both in the way we get things done. Denmark is on the forefront on green transformation. We want all the companies to stand behind it. There is a big commitment from all Danish industries to lift that, to show the way, and also again here in healthcare and life science, we have major opportunities. We have been through are through a global pandemic, and we can see again a country like Denmark have dealt with it really well. We have control of data, we have invented tests, we have built new infrastructure, I think faster than any country, and that shows something about the level of innovation, get things done attitude. We can really work together, collaborate, and make new solutions in a very fast pace. So with that, quick introduction to Demant, quick introduction to the day. Very warm welcome. Thank you for Copenhagen capacity to allow Demant or offer Demant the opportunity to be the host. I want each and every one of you to have a fantastic day. I hope you will get a really great picture of Denmark and the companies here in Denmark as a great opportunity for your future career. A warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you very much, Søren. And again, thank you also very much for hosting this event and also making it possible for all of us to visit this beautiful headquarters of Demant, a little bit northwest of Copenhagen. I'm pleased now to introduce you to one of the other hosts of today. Both Søren and His Royal Highness mentioned Copenhagen capacity. And Copenhagen capacity is actually one of the reasons that we are all here today and that you are all watching this event virtual today. They have a strong focus on helping global talents like yourself to build a career here in Denmark, and also making sure that the Danish businesses are actually connected to young, talented professionals. So now I'm really pleased to introduce and really pleased that you can also meet the CEO of Copenhagen Capacity, Asbjørn Overgaard Christiansen.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It's really a pleasure to be here today. I have been looking forward to this day. I would like to thank Søren and Demant for hosting the event at this really wonderful premises. I can only envy the people actually going to work here every day. Fantastic. And it's also great to hear from Søren how much international talents means for the business here and the opportunities in the life sciences sector in Denmark. I would also like to thank His Royal Highness Prince Joachim for his video recorded message. We truly appreciate the patronage of the Prince, and it's clear to me that he's really engaged in the agenda. And I'm quite sure that he too is missing being here in person and actually being able to meet all of you at a true physical event. I'd also like to thank the companies being present here today and all of the talents behind the screens at home for joining here. And the partners in the Talent to Denmark program and project for making the event here today possible, and also the events tomorrow. Today is mainly about all of you young international talents and the journey that you have started in life. In 1998, quite some years ago, I studied innovation and entrepreneurship in Aarhus. At that time, I had already spent 6 months of my life as a sabbatical year in London as a waiter. But the world was still out there, calling for me, I think. And despite having good friends and a loving family and a great life here in Denmark, I was really craving to get out there, to get out to experience other countries, languages, other ways of doing things, other ways of living and understanding the world. And I ended up in a city called the Apple Mountain. That's Almaty in Kazakhstan, of all places. I spent a semester there, and that made me really have much more appetite for life and for traveling and living abroad. After finishing my studies, it led me to live and work in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, in Hong Kong, China, and in Bangkok, Thailand, all in all for 10 years in total. The experience I gathered in all these places have since been extremely valuable to me. Very often I refer to some of the very interesting people that I have met around the world and some of the different ways of organizing a society or understanding the world. And I've surely learned to understand us Danes much better, also looking at us from the perspective from the outside. Today is all about paying a tribute to that curiosity, to all of you being curious and courageous enough to leave your home countries and go abroad to study, and for most of you, to pursue a career abroad as well. I can only say that you will not regret it. It will only make your life richer. But I think you know that already. And I'm happy that you've chosen Denmark for your journey, at least for this leg of it. Here we offer ample opportunities, your skill sets are in high demand, and the companies here are offering a variety of interesting challenges. Today, Denmark is already one of the most ambitious countries in the world on the climate agenda. Our capital, Copenhagen, aims to be the most sustainable capital of the world. You have the opportunity to be part of this sustainable journey, covering every aspect of sustainability, from green transition over good health and well-being to gender equality and sustainable economic growth. Thank you all for joining here. I trust we will have a great conference and matchmaking, and hopefully ensuring that many of you young and courageous minds find good matches with the exciting Danish companies, new opportunities to stay on, to further pursue a career and life here in Denmark as part of your life journey. Have a great talent conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asbjørn. I'm pleased to introduce the next guest right here. It's Kinga Sabo Christensen, and she is the Deputy Director at what we used to refer to as Dansk Industri, a very big organization here in Denmark, and I could tell you in English, it's the Confederation of Danish Industry, so everyone knows that. So please welcome Kinga Sabo Christensen.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. I feel extremely privileged to be able to address a crowd of young, talented people here, the talents of today and tomorrow. As a young woman, at only 18, with an Eastern European background, I took off to study abroad. I was supposed to be away for 1 year and return to my home country. But instead, I ended up studying and working in 7 different countries on 4 different continents, and ended up somehow in this small but incredible country called Denmark. So here I am, 24 years later, 7 countries and 8 jobs in my baggage, talking to you about talent and sustainability in Denmark. My point is that the world is big and it's open. And in Denmark, we need all the international talent we can get. I represent more than 18,000 Danish companies through my organization, Dansk Industri. And we know for a fact that we can only succeed if we have a talent pool who can challenge the conventional ways of thinking. That is why I sincerely hope that you will consider and choose to stay in Denmark after your studies, because Danish companies need you, especially within the areas of sustainability, digitization, and innovation, as we also heard from Søren today. I feel very strongly about sustainability, and in my organization, Dansk Industri, we work to help Danish companies get a grasp of the Sustainable Development Goals. One of our focus areas is to ensure that Danish businesses have access to all the competencies they need in order to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. This calls for innovative competencies and employees who are capable of thinking in new and unconventional solutions. We need you and the perspectives and the competencies that you bring to the table. An early connection to the Danish business community creates actually a lot of possibilities for the future. I know that because a recent analysis we have made showed that those of you students who connect to companies through student jobs or perhaps project-oriented courses increase your chances of going straight from your education to a professional career here in Denmark. Actually, more than 90% of the international students with a student job in Denmark got a job directly after graduating. Therefore, this conference is a golden opportunity to be introduced to the Danish business community, getting good and relevant contacts, and of course, establish a network. And on a personal note, I think Denmark is a great country to live in. And Denmark actually has some of the coolest and most sustainable companies. And even if sometimes I can still feel like a foreigner or a stranger when I look at or listen to Danish politicians, I never feel like a foreigner or an outsider in the Danish business community. Because maybe the Danish politicians still haven't realized that without you international talents, we will never be able to grow and develop enough. The Danish business community definitely has. So it is my hope that you will have an extremely productive day, and it's sincerely my hope that you will find your future work right here today. Thank you for your time and good luck.
Thank you so much, Kinga Sabo Christensen from Dansk Industri. Now it's actually time for today's first two keynote speakers, and it's also time for me to remind you and urge you to go to slido.com, because after this session, I will look at Slido and I will put your questions to the keynote speakers. Right, the same I will do throughout the day, also with the panel events we will have here later on. So please go to slido.com. You have all the access through your access email to this event. The first two keynote speakers, they feel at home, I guess, today at this event, because they are both working here at Demant, and they will elaborate more on the theme of sustainability and Demant's approach to this theme. So it's Trine Korman Mikkelsen. She is the Vice President of Corporate Communications and Relations, and after Trine, right here, it will be the second keynote speaker, who is Veronique Skov, who is Senior Vice President for Quality. So both will hear about the sustainability theme, and also a very specific partnership actually between Demant and Philips also is on the agenda right now. So first, it's Trine Korman Mikkelsen from Demant.
Thank you very much. See if I have slides. Not yet. Do I need to? Here we go. Yeah, and I'll go back again. Thank you very much for having me here today. Glad to see a few people here at our wonderful headquarters, and especially glad to know that a lot of you sit out there behind your own screen and follow this conference with great interest. So I was invited here because I head sustainability in Demant, and I'm going to talk a little bit about use a little bit of airtime to tell you what we do, how we work with sustainability. But I'm going to use also half of my airtime, not to commercialize what we do, but to talk a little bit about what I see as a professional working with sustainability is and are the new trends for you guys when you start to find jobs, are interested in working in your professional life and getting to work more with sustainability. What are the trends I see that you will be faced with, that you meet, that you can expect in your professional career? And before I dig into that, I just want to start off on the same ground to talk a little bit about what is actually sustainability, so that all of us agree on the concept of sustainability. It's something that's being used and worded and also thrown around a lot in the public debate, and there are many understandings of what it actually contains. Here at Demant, as you saw with our CEO in his opening speech, we do not produce solutions that help solve climate issues. We produce solutions that help solve world health problems. And those solutions we also consider sustainable. They also contribute to a sustainable world. Because the concept of sustainability really entails the impact you have as a company, your, on the one hand, positive impact on the world, but also on the one hand, the more negative impact you have and your obligation to reduce that impact. That's in a broad sense. Narrowed down, sustainability is about three main factors. It's about social sustainability, where we also consider world health as part of that. It's about environmental sustainability, and I'm sure all of you follow a lot on the climate debate on how we can reduce our footprint on the world. And it's about economic sustainability. It's about how organizations act in this world to secure a better world, ethical behavior. And altogether, these elements and actions within these elements constitute our common understanding of being sustainable. So what does this translate into Demant? We look at the world and we look at the global trends and we look at our company and we say, so how can we solve the challenges that we see in the world with what we do? First of all, of course, there is a growing elderly population in the world. There's a growing, and in that sense, there's a growing need to have your hearing fixed. There's a growing need to communicate. So we are part of solving that global challenge. Moreover, we also see us as a part of solving the climate challenge. The world agrees that there is a need to reduce the emissions, the CO2 emissions, and there is a need to get a reduction on the global warming. We also, as a company, even though our main products are very small, we also have an obligation to work in this direction and support the Paris Agreement for reducing global warming by at least or more than 2 Celsius and at least in the near of 1.5. Another important aspect of driving a global business, of being part of a global community, is diversity, both in the sense of gender and in the sense of nationality, disability. It can be age, it can be many factors. As a global company with a footprint around the world, we have an obligation to help solve diversity problems around the world and to create equal opportunities for people. And both with our products, with the way they give access to education, the way they give access to hearing, the way they give access to communicating, and with the way we work with our employees, with our customers, we have a clear obligation to work on being a more diverse company and support inclusion of all diverse backgrounds. So some of our sustainability results lies within certain practices of our company. And I've pointed out a few here on the slide to show that we work in these four different areas. When we look away from our core, our life-changing hearing health, we have 4 different areas where we try to deliver, where we try to reduce the impact we have on the world. In the people and culture sense, it has a lot to do with our most valuable resource in this company. It's our employees. We work with creating a more diverse culture, and it also starts from above, looking at how the company is run, with the board of directors and the management group, working to increase diversity in these teams. We also work with the concept of engagement. We believe that having an engaged workforce also contributes to a better work environment, and also makes us deliver better as a business. In the area of social and local community, we are foundation owned. That means that a lot of the profit we make go back into society. So we donate, and this is more in a philanthropic sense of the word, we donate our profit to either philanthropic causes around the world, or to invest in new companies that can generate work, that can generate profit, products that help people. On the environmental side, it's we are on a goal to reduce and reuse and recycle. We want to support the production of green energy, and we have defined this year a clear climate goal to work towards supporting with science-based targets the Paris Agreement. And finally, we have an obligation to do business in an ethical way. We have an obligation to support others in understanding how to do business, and also on our supplier side, work with them to create a better business community. And so all of this together makes our full framework of how we work with sustainability in Demant. It's circling around the core of supporting UN Goal 3 and 8, which are supporting world health and innovation. That's the core of what we do. Then circling around the core, we have our obligations to create diversity, to reduce our footprint, to create better business behavior and governance, and also to give back to society and act as a real good neighbor where we are. And basically, with this framework, we intend to integrate the concept of sustainability in how we do business. And this is actually what my main point of my arguments for why sustainability is changing character as we see it now. We see more and more that companies integrate sustainability into their business strategy, so it doesn't become an isolated program to reduction somewhere, or to work on quality of life with your customers or your users. It becomes part of the board's attention and how the company work. It becomes part of the CEO's priority on how they do their business strategy. As an example of this, we work with quality factors, we call them. That's a way to look at how does your product actually make a better life, and also in some cases can create a longer life for your users. When you look at this, you also have to think about how does that integrate into how you do business. So more and more we see sustainability becoming part of how you do your business strategy, rather than how you just run a program. We also see it with companies that mainly do green solutions, how the green solution becomes the business proposal and not just part of what you do. Another trend, and I'm sure that many people working with sustainability in large companies like the ones I work with got a little bit of a surprise when they saw that Maersk a few years ago completely dissolved their sustainability department. They said, now we no longer have a sustainability department, now we integrate it into the company. We integrate it into our business processes. And this is quite an important factor when it comes to working and seeking jobs, because even though you're keen on working with sustainability, you don't have to seek into a sustainability department, because more and more businesses actually dissolve the sustainability department and integrate it into the core of the business processes. We will see an example of this, my colleague Veronique. And another example of what happens in a company like ours, and for a lot of companies, is the fact that you cannot be sustainable without creating partnerships. It doesn't happen on your own. In the area of the climate and your footprint, if you want to reduce your footprint as a company, you can go nowhere without talking to your suppliers. So you have to another step away from your own direct emissions and look at your whole value chain. And you won't get anywhere without beautiful partnerships. Partnerships also happens in creating products and solutions. And at Demant, we have been working with the well-known and well-respected brand Philips to create hearing aids. And this project, I have a good colleague, Veronique, who has been working up for several years now, and we've been
almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years, and we've been working together on the sustainability part of it.
Yes.
And I'll hand this one over to you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Veronique Skov. I'm responsible for quality here at Demant, and I will introduce you about how we work with sustainability in my team and how we have had a very good influence from Philips working with sustainability. So just to put some frame around the quality here, I will talk about the hearing aids quality. We are working with 4 main brands. We are working with Oticon, Bernafon, Sonic, and Philips. Philips, we have an agreement. We are doing the product, and based on this agreement, we get the permissions to use their logo. And the sustainability is a part of it. In quality, we are around 170 persons working around the world. We are here in Denmark, we are in Poland, we are in US, in Canada, and we have also quality persons in our wholesales. This quality organization is quite broad. We have the regulatory affairs, we have the quality assurance, we have the product quality engineering, where here we are looking at the material and compliance. We are looking into the market feedback, and we have a big team working with operation quality in our productions. So when we talk about quality, here we are a medical device, and our foundations, it's our quality management systems. We are a regulated company, and we need to follow the regulations on Europe, in US, and the different places of the world where we are selling our products. And all these regulations, all these processes that we are following is to get the product that are safe and effective. And for that, we report also to our notified body, we report to the external persons like analysts or investors, but we are also reporting to our partner, Philips. So how start this cooperation? We start in 2017, where we had this agreement to produce our hearing aids, and where they will come to us with some requirement to get the possibility to get their logo on. This has been a very good and strong collaboration. This is the beauty of the collaborations, where two companies, one medical device as we are, and the one with a very strong consumer electronic teams and sustainability focus that have made this cooperation as these different interests. I can tell you we have very good discussions, and together we try always to reach our goals. What is very important for us is, yes, we are working with Philips. We take the things that we think are relevant because we have 4 brands. So as soon as we are saying yes to Philips, this has to be applied to all our brands. Philips has a very strong vision. They have a vision for 2025 with sustainability. And as a brand licensee, we are a part of that. So together, we are setting some requirements, and I will explain a little bit more in details what we are doing with that. We are focusing mainly on 3 items. The first one is what we call the sustainable manufacture. The second one is our substances. And the third one is the journey that we have just started, looking at what do we call a green product. So for Philips, how we work with sustainable. We have in our agreement that every 3 years we will run what we call RBA audit. This is it's an audit where we look mainly at 5 elements. There are around 43 questions or topics where you have 2-3 auditors coming to we drive it in 2018, where the auditors are coming to Poland and ask our employees. So as you see on the slide, you have the management, so looking, do we have process? Do we have the management responsibility and accountability? They are looking at the labor. What are the salaries? How old are our employees? Do we have discriminations? They are looking at the health and safety, so how do we communicate health? What about our equipment? Is it safe for the operators that we have in our productions? They are looking at the environment. Do we have the right process not to pollute the environment? They look at what kind of substances, material we are using. And ethnics, it's about do we have anti-corruptions? How are we handling the private data? And we had this exercise in 18, and of course, we had to correct some of the things, and we are repeating now in 1 month the same exercise. And as soon as we produce a product from Philips with the logo on in one factory, we need to have this assessment. So the substances in our company, as a medical device, we need to ensure that the material and the substances that we use for our hearing aids are not harming the user. But we need also to ensure that they are not harming the environment. And here we say that is very strong cooperation together with Philips, because we are, I would say, on the same level, and we help each other. We have a list called restricted list. They have a substance list called regulated list. And together we follow the regulation in order to be proactive. So as soon as we hear something, how do you remove, for example, the latex? How do you remove the PVC from your product? We will help each other to have this cooperation. And I think this is very great, because they came to us with very good ideas, and we exchange that. We come also with our knowledge, and our teams can work together. Yes, and the green product. Perhaps some of you have bought some shavers or coffee machine from Philips, and you can see a small green logo on. And they are working with something called eco-design. And to have this logo on, they have to follow these 5 focus areas. So the energy, the power consumption for us as a hearing aids manufacturer. Of course, we look into that. The second one is circularity. So how do you design your product to a better repair? The packaging has to be low volume. You have to use recyclable material. We have the substances, as we talked about. The substances that we need to use shouldn't impact our environment. And the material, looking a lot about FSC material and recyclable material. So all that, we have now a big spreadsheet where we utilize all our hearing instruments, but also our accessory, and assess where are we compared to Philips requirements. So this is a way how we work in our team in a practical way together with the sustainability. If I had to reflect about sustainability and together with quality, I will agree together with Trina. This sustainability is a mindset. I will say that Philips has had a very positive influence, but is not a group that can anchor the sustainability into our organization. It has to come with the concept: what kind of material do we use to start our product, and have all this value chain aspect also looking at the process. And finally, I will say that I think this gives engagement into my team to work with sustainability. We have now the Demant sustainability strategy, and we have this vision from Philips, and I have employees that really get engaged talking about that and having this into our focus area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both Trine and Veronique. Actually, lots of questions for you from Slido. So I think maybe if you could stand right here.
Back.
I will stand right here. And then I guess for the technicians, is that okay? Thumbs up from the technicians. And then I have to say to all of you out there, thank you so much for really great questions on Slido. I'm just looking forward to putting them right to you because they're really good. They've really been listening, and lots of them also write, thank you so much for great presentations. So that compliment to you both. First, a question here from Kenan. He asks really relevant questions, I think. How do companies make sure that both sustainability and agile are not only buzzwords, but mindset and core that is embedded in all that we do? Who wants to go first?
Should I start?
You can start.
Yes. So it comes from the top, I would say. It won't happen as a buzzword. It will not. If we just say we support the Paris Agreement and just state that as a buzz, I would say that's a buzzword. We won't get anywhere with it. It has to be something that you work continuously to implement from the very top of the company down through all management layers and then into the practical operations of the company. So, of course, you use the buzzwords to take part in the agenda that you see in the media, that you participate in internally with your employees. So you use the same buzzwords, but without actually working to implement your strategy, your framework, your expectations to managers in the company, it will only become buzzwords and not actual action.
Veronique?
I think when we have the top management support and the strategy as we have at Demant, afterward it's easier for a manager and taking concrete actions to start to work with that. When we talk about diversity, what does that mean for my team? When we talked about green product, what does that mean for my team? And make it very concrete and start to work and align, of course, with the overall strategy that we have at Demant.
And that's interesting because the next question is actually very concrete about skills. It's Fran asking, what are the core skills needed to become a good sustainability manager?
A sustainability manager. So that's kind of a very specific title, and I don't think there are many sustainability managers in each company. There might just be one in a company like ours, but you have to, if you turn it around, what does it take to manage sustainability as
Exactly.
skilled employees? I would say it's a matter of this, back to this mindset. How do you translate the sustainable mindset into the profession you have? So if you work with finance, you work in economics, you can actually start investigating how does the financial communicate relate to sustainability agendas. As an example, we see an extremely vocal, the world's largest investor, BlackRock. They have been very clear and very vocal on they expect from companies to deliver on sustainability, and they use the word ESG, the environment, social, and governance of a company. So if you, as a student, as someone who's preparing for going into working in a company with sustainability, but your profession is in another area, it's about finding out how does sustainability translate into my profession. And I think it's a little bit the same you said about mindset and maybe quality. Do you have another example from quality?
For us, it has been the mindset, and also be very concrete with the actions to make it understandable for the rest of the employees.
See, that's another question, because Vanessa asked, how do you pass on the sustainability mindset to the rest of the organization, even to the departments and teams that are not directly involved in it? Would you say that's only about communication, or how would you put it?
Again, we have been lucky to have this partnership with Philips, because they came with a very high level and very high focus, and we have worked together with them and Trina's team to join efforts there. But again, they have to see the manager and the top management, I would say, focusing on that and talking about it and communicate it. So he's as a anchor into what we are doing every day in all departments.
Veronique, there's a question very specific on the collaboration with Philips from Vanessa. She asks, learning from the collaboration with Philips, are you planning on implementing sustainable requirements to your suppliers going forward?
Yeah. We are already doing that. We are working, for example, with our speaker units, with Sonion and Knowles, and that they are also working. We have to work together with them. If we need to have the right resistor, they have to be a part of this journey together with us. And I think many industries are doing that and asking them also. So it's not very hard, because the overall industry are also looking into that to remove hazardous substances and have a better process.
And a follow-up question actually from Vanessa, also on your experience with Philips. You mentioned yourself that Philips had a very strong focus on this theme. So Vanessa asked, what were your key learnings from the experience with Philips?
I would say that the team that we are working with, Philips is a very big company. The teams that we are working with are very consumer, electronic, and sustainability focus, and this brings for us the end user approach. To be very, very end user focused, as we are in the consumer electronic industry.
And in addition, I would say from my perspective, I've been involved in the partnership, especially in the beginning when we did the RBA, the Responsible Business Analysis. One thing I learned and took into our work and our, you could say, philosophy about working with suppliers and partners is the fact that it doesn't make sense to get angry or get crossed or get set down ultimate goals or say, if you don't reach this, if you don't do this, we cannot collaborate. What Philips has done is completely the other way around. It's been extremely inspirational. They just pour out all of their knowledge. They offer all of their skills to us as a partner to them. So it's constantly a collaboration, an inspiring collaboration where we are a fairly small company compared to Philips. So they have maybe 10 size our sustainability department they have it at Philips, but they totally offer their skills and also a lot of years in the back. They've been working with sustainability since the 90s. So approaching creating a better world based on what can we do together to reach the goals, rather than saying, if you don't, then we can't work with you.
See, allow me just to put a follow-up question. I find that really interesting. So what you say is no pointing fingers or guilt and all that.
No.
Could you maybe give us an example of that? I mean, the inspirational approach to this from Philips towards Demant.
Of course, yeah, and also where we have actually been able to inspire Philips on the other direction.
Goes both ways.
Yes, so at least for my sake, you can maybe add another example, but we're working with this whole idea of looking at how does our products improve lives. How can we, with our products, avoid people getting a depression because they can, with hearing aids, stay active, they can socialize. And in the concept of this, someone knows as a quali sectors, you can work with how does your product actually have an improvement, a quality effect on people's lives, and this Philips has been working with this for years, and we've done work sessions where we take in research people from our group, everywhere around the group, and from Philips. They offer their opportunities, and then we brainstorm on how to move on. And they are quite far on improved lives, but on the quality side, on how quality is, they also need inspiration from us. So that's a current project that we have running.
I can add the last project that we have on the green product. They are ready. They are selling eco-design product, and we are not there yet. And together, when they come with their requirement from consumer electronics, there are things that we cannot do because we are regulated, we are a medical device, and they try to understand our world and see how can we manage to have a good product that we are proud to have our logo on.
A very specific question here. What do companies, I would say in this case, let's focus on Demant. So how do Demant demand out of future employees? What do you demand in terms of adopting sustainable solutions?
I think we almost look at it the other way around, that future employees demand of us to adopt sustainable solutions. So really we're maybe mostly interested in how future employees see us making new solutions. I think our HR people will talk a little bit more about this, I think, later on. But for us, development, research, you can see it when you're here. It happens in collaboration. Innovation doesn't happen in one room where a company comes and tells someone that this is how you should innovate. It's kind of a more than a two-way. It's a collaborative space, and we actually more expect future employees to put very high demands on us.
And another question here. Do you think your approach to sustainability gives you a competitive advantage when comparing with other large companies or competitors in the medtech industry?
When it comes to the green area, it doesn't yet. It's not a strong demand, neither from our users nor from our customers.
Do you think that would change?
I think it will.
Yeah.
But when and that's why we work with it, because it will change. But you have to remember that maybe 80% of the people that we serve are fairly old. Not that they can't be techie and want the best technology and have opinions on how we do as a company, but mainly they, as it is now, focus on getting help to communicate. So, but we see, and we have seen an acceleration from all of our stakeholders, be it customers, be it investors, employees, future employees, for us to deliver on sustainability.
And also, when the next generation will need hearing aid, they might have other
expectations.
Exactly.
So we have to be ready.
Yeah.
We have a fairly low or short circle of life in a hearing aid, so we develop constantly, and we can add. We don't need years to produce a hearing aid, so we can add, constantly improve in the sustainable direction. And I'm sure that our managers in the commercial area of the company see more and more of this, and actually also want to act on it. Mm-hmm.
And also we will hear more about that later on, I'm sure, but I will just put this question also. Liam saying thank you for a great presentation, and then asking, where do you see yourself improving even more? A big question, I know.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have a lot to gain still. First of all, in the green area, and I don't think I only speak for our company, when it comes to medtech, it hasn't been high on the agenda for medtech companies. We have had this hear and say that our products are so small, we don't create windmills, they're really, really small and even smaller, and can they become smaller? So we have this, so our footprint isn't that big. So in this area, I'm sure we can improve even more. We also see a huge demand for diversity and focus on getting diverse people with diverse backgrounds up in the top of the management.
So that's in the organization.
Yes,
a question
internally,
about diversity.
yeah,
And you don't think you're good enough at? You're not there
we
yet,
can
or
definitely become better.
Okay. And a question here: how do you monitor and measure your carbon emissions throughout your entire value chain? Also a big question, I know. Any of you could have a go on that?
I can, yes. We are on, so we talk about 3 different scopes when you talk about emissions. You have the scope 1 and 2, where you have your own emissions, and we have those fairly good on a worldwide scale and knocked down, and we know exactly how much we pollute. When it comes to the whole value chain, which is called Scope 3 in our professional language, we are on a journey now to map it. And the way you map it is to look at basically your suppliers, and you look at your entire value chain and your entire suppliers. And we don't have the exact answer yet, but I'm sure that our complete emissions, our suppliers will probably cover around 80-90% of our emissions. So it's a huge task to work on reducing your emission through your suppliers.
Right, and I think some of the other questions are actually covered from your answers. One here: do you use alternative energy sources? I guess that could both be in your headquarters right here and in your production.
So this building is more or less powered by solar energy. It's both regulated by Danish government. When you build a building, you have to put solar panels on it. But we also have sourcing of electricity from the local electricity unit. They have green energy. So in a way, but we are in 30 countries, so we have a lot to work on when it comes to sourcing green energy. And what was the question again?
It was about do you use alternative energy sources?
So we use it via our electrical or gas supplier, or whatever we use. So via those, but we also, our foundation invested in a windmill park 8 years ago in Germany, water in the sea, and the electricity we produce is not channeled to our plants, but it's used by German households. But in a sense, it's a way to say, well, we have profit how can we invest it in a greener world? So we invested in this windmill park. And if we want, we can use that wind power in a few years to offset our own use. But we don't at the moment.
And just a question that just got in right now. Thank you, Gloria, because I think that was a comment for the diversity thing in the organization. So Gloria asks, one of your focus is gender equality and diversity. Mm-hmm. How do you measure them?
So it's fairly easy to see what's the landscape. How many different sexes do you have? What's the gender landscape? So it's easy to map that in a company. You can also map nationality and age and education. So you can fairly easy map. And when you have the data mapped, you can targets. And then when you have your targets, you can work on measuring how well you do it. But I think more importantly is actually the way you talk about it, the policy you have, get back to the mindset. So actually working with each employee manager to work with their diversity approach is probably most important when it comes to creating diverse teams.
All right, thank you so much, both Trine and Veronique. Thank you for great presentations, great answers here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what is going to happen right here now is that we will make ready for the first panel event here. You will meet 7 representatives from companies here in Denmark, 7 young talents like yourself, who actually chose to pursue a career here in Denmark. I guess you would have lots of questions specifically for them, and I want to thank you all so much for your great questions on Slido right here for Trine and Veronique. Just keep them coming. I'll look at them and I'll put them to the 7 representatives that you're about to meet after a short break, because we will just have the guys up here and then we will proceed. So in the short break, just 5 minutes or so, you can see a video and then you can learn a bit more how it's like to be working in Demant. See you.
I was there when it all started, with one big bang. And even though you rarely notice me, I'm everywhere. I'm between you and everyone you know and everyone you love. I move feelings from one ear to the next, from New York to Seoul, and from him to her. I carry the first cry when a child is born, and I'm there when a child is helped to hear its mother's voice for the first time. Who am I? I am sound. Yes, sound. And if I may say so, there are a lot of good things to be said about me, as long as I'm in your life, that is. Because when I'm not present, neither are you. You're not fully there. Not fully there when you're having dinner with your family. Not fully there when you're singing with 80,000 people. You have become disconnected and you're missing out on the important things in life. Wouldn't you like to get the most out of your long life? Wouldn't it be great to hear how loud Minjun is shouting when he makes a hole-in-one? To stay active, to keep on exploring, to learn new things, to hang out with friends, to go on new adventures. And isn't it wonderful that with a bit of help, Yuyan can chase her dreams to become a world-famous violinist? That it's never too late to chase your dreams. That everyone can hear the same dad joke once again, and that you can share your feelings with her and him and her. So please hear me out. No matter who you are, Whether you're old or young, you need to keep me in your life. All your life. To get the most out of this wonderful world. Sometimes that requires a little help. And why not get that help from people who, for more than 100 years, have been creating life-changing differences through hearing health, helping people overcome the challenges of hearing loss. It all began with the love between two people, Hans Demant and his passion to help his hearing-impaired wife Camilla, and their son William's endeavours to share their expertise on hearing health. This devotion lives on today, where thousands of people work to keep me in your life, all your life.
I love being outside at the sea. I can clear my mind without having to adapt to anything, behave in a certain way. I like challenging myself. I like seeking new opportunities. And the sea gives me plenty of possibilities. I grew up close to a lake, so I've been swimming, windsurfing, rowing and kayaking from a young age. In my adult life I focus on kayaking and open water swimming. When the weather is right, I can spend hours on end at the sea. I appreciate having free hands to do what I want to do without too much planning. It's also crucial for me that I share my experiences with others. Therefore, the Kayaking Club is a perfect match for me. Here, I can meet with good friends. It's a relaxed and open atmosphere. Everything feels familiar. You can talk to everybody and all the people are ready to help. And more than that, it's great to meet new people out here, such as my girlfriend. The combination of being outside, doing things on my own or in a team is wonderful. Here at Oticon, I have the same cooperation as in my kayaking club. I have close relations to my colleagues and great talks in the canteen. It's incredible how familiar it feels being with my team. But the most important thing is that we develop products which help people in their everyday life. I really like that.
Hi, everyone, and great to see you all again. Hope you maybe just had some time to grab a cup of coffee or some water, anything, and that you're just comfortable out there. We're comfortable right here. I hope we're comfortable here, because now I'm not alone anymore down here. I'm joined by 7 young talents. Great to see you all, and now it's time for you out there to ask these great people questions, because they actually choose to pursue a career right here in Denmark with the companies that are represented here today. I have just to mention that due to the COVID-19 situation, Bayer actually does not have a young international professional in Denmark right now. They usually have, so it's just only because of the situation right now. And then again, please continue to use Slido, because I guess you would have lots of questions specifically for the people right here now. And I look at Slido all the time, so you can just go ahead and put all your great questions just like you did before. So first of all, I would like, of course, to introduce you to these great people right now. And I think who would be better to do that than yourself? And let me just remind you that you press the button, and then you can talk, and then you can mute by pressing it again. It's just like being in Folketinget. It's like a panel debate with the young politicians, and I'm really glad you're not, actually. It's more nice to hear your experiences. But just a brief introduction, who you are, where you work, and maybe also just about your roots. Where are you from? Let's begin out here.
Hi, my name is Anna Ley. I come from Slovenia, a very, very small country just south of Austria. It's very beautiful, full of mountains, and we have a little corner of the Adriatic Sea. And so when I graduated from microbiology in my home country, I felt the need to go abroad a little bit and see what's out there in the world. And so what I did was I went to Denmark. I actually chose Technical University of Denmark as my next step, where I did a master in biotechnology, and then somehow this turned into a PhD in biotechnology, and now I'm still here, right here in Denmark. I work for Novozymes. I'm a research scientist. I work in the field of molecular biology. Together with my colleagues, we construct, we build cell factories, microorganisms, by which we then produce our enzymes. And I really believe I have a dream job, and I'm absolutely grateful for it day after day.
Thank you so much, Anna. And Arundhati?
So I'm Arundhati, and I'm originally from New Delhi, which is in India, and it's a pretty big country. I came to Denmark in 2016 to do my master's because I was super interested in sustainability and what better place to be. So I joined CBS, where I did my master's in advanced economics and finance. And I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, so I joined the Maersk graduate program, which has been an incredible opportunity to learn about the company. I joined in operations because I wanted to learn how the company works. And this has led me to my dream job. So I work in the decarbonization department at Maersk, where we are the custodians of the commitments that we have made as a company. And yeah, that's a 1-minute introduction of me.
Thank you very much, Arundhati. And Jordan?
Yep, thank you. Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm from England, which is where I did my bachelor's degree in mathematics. But I realized mathematics was a little bit too dry for me, so I decided to do my master's here in Denmark, up at DTU. And I did it in mathematical modeling and computation. So I got a bit of an insight into machine learning and programming, and it went really, really well, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to stay here and look for jobs in Denmark. I finished my master's last September, and so started looking for jobs straight after that. Luckily enough, I managed to land a job in the Data Science Academy with Wendelman Thompson. So I'm now currently a data scientist there, and I started together with 9 other people on the academy.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thijs?
Yeah, my name is Thijs, and I come from Spain, from Valencia. Very nice weather, not like here, I must say. Yeah, but I graduated, I did my bachelor's in chemical engineering in Valencia, and then I came to Denmark to do my master's at DTU in environmental engineering. I wanted to go abroad, and Denmark was very, very ahead on sustainability and environmental issues. So I decided it was a very nice country to fulfill my dreams in that area. And I should be graduated by now, or yeah. But I decided to start an internship in Novo Nordisk to gain experience and learn about how is it to work in a Danish company. And yeah, right now I'm a student assistant in corporate environmental strategy. So I have a very specific task. I monitor chemical compliance. So we try to do a lot of substances lists that we don't like in our products and in our production. Very hard task, by the way. But we also participate a lot in advocacy, and we collaborate. I collaborate a lot with my colleagues within the strategy in many areas in Novo Nordisk, and there's a lot of opportunities from in the Department of Environmental Strategy. So it's a very nice opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Silvia Lopez, and I came from Mexico City. First of all, I would like to thank all the CEOs. They were very inspirational talks for all of us. I'm a second-year PhD at Christian Hansen, meaning that it's an industrial PhD, although I'm writing my PhD in University of Vienna. So it's a collaboration between Denmark and Germany, so it's a great opportunity to have industrial experience and academic experience. And I'm working on screening beneficial bacterial strains to, how can I say it very easily, to work towards metabolic health. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Swarup?
Yeah, hi, my name is Swarup. I moved to Denmark in 2016 from India. I come from an eastern city called Kolkata, slightly hotter than here, like 40 degrees in the summer. So yeah, I come from there, and Denmark just came out of nowhere for my study planning. And yeah, I moved here in 2016 to study at DTU, my master's in electrical engineering. And yeah, after graduating, I thought it's a nice and a cool place, so why not, also continue working here. So right now, I'm employed as a senior consultant at KPMG. I work with a lot of cool stuff, like the latest technologies like automation and AR, VR, and machine learning and stuff like that. So yeah, and glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swarup. Thank you. Cecilia?
Yes, so my name is Cecilia, and I as well come from Mexico. And I have been living in Denmark for almost 3 years. And the reason why I came here is because when I graduated from my master, I knew that I wanted to continue my development in Europe, continue to grow. And then, yeah, I applied to different countries, and I got a call from Demant, and I said, okay. I came here, I visited the company as participating in an assessment center, which is a full day with activities. And I was simply convinced by what I saw, and I couldn't say no, so then I came here, and yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that presentation. Good to know, and also good for you out there to know that we have a big part of the world represented right here. Mexico, Spain, India, Slovenia, and England. I mean, we're covering quite a lot here. I know that lots of the talents looking right now, following this session, would be interested in learning how you actually got into your companies. I mean, what was actually your way in? Was it an application? How did you end up exactly where you are now? And maybe if you could be really, on the low, practical, concrete level, because that's really inspirational if you're out there just wanting to follow the same path. Who would like to start that? Yeah?
So how I got into Maersk was a good old application. I applied on the internet, but of course I started engaging with the company much before because I wanted to learn about Maersk, and I was a student assistant. I was a research assistant at CBS in maritime, and I was super intrigued by the company and what it was doing. And yeah, it was a good old application, and then of course reaching out to people in the company to know more so that I could prepare myself better. And yeah, 4 months later, I got a job.
And how much thought did you give that application? Also in terms of this was Maersk, but a Danish company. I mean, how much did you go to the Danish kind of thinking, and how much did you think internationally? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do actually, and I think in my application, I wanted to be myself because it was a company where I would like to grow. It's the beginning of my professional career. So of course there were a lot of fact-based, like I did this, but of course in the sense of also projecting that I wanted to learn, and that was a huge part of my application and my motivation to apply because I was hoping they didn't expect me to know all the answers. Yeah.
Great. Anyone else tell their story? Yeah. Anna?
Yeah, I can add something silly maybe. When you said, how much did you prepare for the Danish part of getting a job?
Exactly.
For example, when I had to prepare for a job interview, I did a whole research on what to wear. So, for example, in my home country, I would never wear jeans to a job interview, but here I did, because I talked to my colleagues and my friends, okay, what do I do? How do I present myself in the best way? And here I learned that it's really important that you show that you can fit in, that you can be just part of the team. And so I wore jeans, and it was the right decision.
Yeah. That's a good little example.
Yeah, sure. Like, on my part, I think Danish was a requirement in the part of my job, actually, and I'm not as fluent in Danish. I'm learning right now, but I still went on with that challenge, like, why not try it out? And I think it's a mix of, the application is, of course, very important, like where you fill out all your technicalities and your qualifications and everything. At the same time, there's also a lot of focus on your personality, how well you fit into the team, and how well will you go with, the culture of working together, like what we have been taught in the universities in Denmark. And I found that from the very first round of the interview, like that was the case. And I think it was a mix of both of the things that kind of led me to get the job finally. So, yeah.
Right. Anyone else wants to have a go? Because there's another, yeah, Sylvia?
Yeah, for me it was slightly different because I reached out directly to my now supervisor. So I didn't apply like through a hub or something. I sent my CV and my motivation letter, and the day after, she emailed me back like, oh, we really like your CV, and I think you're a perfect fit. Are you free for an interview? Like, it was on Friday, and then on Monday, I was like, yeah, of course. And I was also very, very nervous, but I think people know that you are nervous already when you go to an interview, so they kept it very easily, and it went very smooth, but you just need to be confident on.
But Sylvia, I'm curious now, because this was a really short process.
Yeah.
What made you motivated to send this email?
It was pretty much the job description, the PhD description, because I work with in vitro projects, so it's organoids, and it was a matter of what I want to learn, the experience that I'm gaining from this company. So it was that part that motivated me to move forward, to relocate to Denmark. So, yeah.
Thank you. And thank you so much, guys, for already putting questions on Slido. I think one is interesting here. I would like to have another round, like in the beginning where you introduce yourself. We can maybe begin from the other way now with you, Cecilia, from Demant. It's someone here asking, it's an anonymous, that's why I don't say the name. And it's perfectly okay to be anonymous, of course. So it's someone asking, what were your thoughts on Denmark before you moved here? You can start, Cecilia.
Before moving is different from when I applied. Because when I applied, I didn't have really an idea on Denmark. I had lived in Germany for 1 year, so I thought, must be similar, right? They are close to each other, the language is kind of similar, so those were my thoughts when applying. But then when I got the job, then I actually started to look into it and see more about Denmark. And that's when I started to form a more realistic idea about Denmark and all the work culture and all the great things. And yeah, then that was pretty much it. And I had never been in Denmark before my interview, so that was also how I set my first foot in Denmark as well.
And Cecilia, if someone had asked you before that, before even knowing that you would go to a job interview, someone had said, okay, I say Denmark, you say 3 words, would you have known what to say? Did you know anything about the country?
I would just say small, similar to Germany, and cold.
Yeah, no, great 3 words. Swaroop?
Well, whenever you actually, I got an offer to study first, like in 2016, and the first thing when I Google about Denmark, the first thing that comes up, like, it's a very, like, the happiest country in the world, you know that, and with those colorful buildings in New Haven. But Danes like to keep it to themselves. They don't really like to talk, and, you know, you should try to keep that distance. So don't try to sit beside them in the bus. Okay, that was not meant to be in that way, but, you know, like, it was like, okay, they really like to keep it to themselves, and that was something that changed after I landed here. Like, no, it's not the case, actually. That was, I don't know how it ended up in Google or some documents or something, but it was completely opposite. People are really friendly, and, you know, they're really good and quite helpful. So I never had any issue, like, to, you know, where I can get stuck or something. So quite smooth and quite good going. So.
And did you have any, Swaroop, any like aha moments in the beginning, like that you did some research and then, like you mentioned, it turned out to be totally different? Did you have any, you know, in the beginning I'm talking about here, did you have any moments where you thought, whoa, I didn't know this?
Well, in that terms, actually, my university was a surprise, DTU. It's one of the finest and, you know, technical universities in Denmark with you know, with such high qualifications and good people there. And it turns out like they are really focused a lot also into parties, which was quite opposite from where I come from. Okay, and I was like, okay, this is real, right? I mean, so there was a list, like every semester we have parties in this bar and every bar on this Fridays and these days. And that came out before the main timetable of your studies. So I was like, okay, that's something. So you can see how social and outgoing it is. So that was my aha moment, but once you're here, you get used to that, right? So something you get in the flow. So that was really nice and very cool.
And Sylvia, what were your thoughts about Denmark, if you had any before you arrived?
I honestly don't have any like clear thoughts because I moved from the Netherlands, so it's pretty much the same as you. I thought it was very similar, but today I think it's very similar, but the same. They have like this Friday bar concept, which is, it's very like great because it's something you just wrap up your work and then you move to the canteen and then you just chill out for, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then you sort of start the weekend the right way. So that was sort of my aha moment. One of my colleagues said, do you want to join for the Friday bar? I was like, what is that? So yeah, that was funny.
Okay. And Thais?
Well, I had it pretty easy. I think I never thought of moving to Denmark. But then when I was studying my bachelor's in Spain, my university had very nice agreements with DTU. So that made me discover that there was a possibility to go abroad and to go to DTU, which is one of the best universities in Europe for technical learning. But I had it pretty easy, as I was saying, because I had some friends that did the research before for me. So they were saying such wonderful things about Denmark that I wanted to go there. I was very clear about that. They were so happy about the life, the working conditions, the way of teaching in here, the passion you put into the things you do. I wanted that. I wanted that in my curriculum as well, and I wanted also to discover what was out there. And yeah, I found the opportunity was given to me, and I took it without any
Great,
thoughts.
great. And Jordan, your thoughts on Denmark?
Yeah.
If you had any?
Yeah, so before I came to Denmark, I thought it would be, 40 degrees, blue skies every day, very sunny, and sadly not.
I guess you were really disappointed.
Yes, coming from England as well.
Yeah.
But no, I think I had some preconceptions about what the Danish workplace would be like, and I think most of them have held true, to be honest. For instance, people are quite direct, but not in an impolite way, and there isn't much of a hierarchical structure within the company itself. Even people who are, echelons above you in seniority, it's quite easy to talk to them, and it's very easy to feel comfortable with that. And I think it's something that I thought would be different between England and Denmark, and it's certainly proven true so far.
Thank you. Arundhati?
So when I got the offer from CBS, I didn't even care to do any research because I was so excited. And then I ended up buying hiking boots, and I realized when I came to Denmark that there are no mountains. So I was super excited, right? And of course, in terms of my preparation, I would say in hindsight I should have read more because I thought it was just going to be cold, but I needed all-purpose weather clothes, right? But the biggest aha moment, and I think I would agree, is the flat structure, and you can just go and reach out to anyone and ask them questions. And I think it's quite different from where I come from, where it can be a little hierarchical. and also more indirect, the communication, right? And I have grown to love the directness. I know exactly what people are thinking, and I know what I'm going to get. And it just makes it more fun and enjoyable, right? And that's what I actually love about Denmark.
And that's interesting. Arundachi, can you maybe tell us a bit more about the aha experience in terms of the flat structure that you're mentioning? Like an example, maybe, that you experienced something that you wouldn't have experienced, let's say, in India?
I think one of the things I mentioned was the graduate program, and I said that it was extremely exciting, but one of the biggest things was that you were thrown into this space where you could collaborate with people, and you had to interact with people across the organization. And for me, initially, I was a little hesitant saying, oh, this person is a vice president, right? Can I just directly drop them an email? And actually, you can directly drop them an email. And that was a huge moment for me because they would respond, right? And to have that barrier broken, I think has opened a lot of possibilities in terms of what you can learn and who you can reach out to. Because the worst case that could happen is that you don't get an answer or they say no, right? And that is something, once you swallow the discomfort of it, it's amazing, right? So that was my aha moment.
Yeah.
Just ask questions.
Yeah, that's good. Anna?
Yeah, so I also didn't know anything about Denmark when I applied to DTU. The only thoughts that I'd had were, I remember Scandinavia, clean, green, Vikings, and that was handball, and that was pretty much it. And then the aha moment when I came here, I remember that it was just all the water. All of a sudden, I was surrounded by water everywhere I went in Copenhagen. You know, I could just cycle to the beach. I thought that was my wow moment. And I felt like, oh, that's why I needed to come here. But then I also had an aha moment with the flat structure. I remember then when I came to the university, I was pretty much in shock when I could just open into a professor's office and, you know, ask a question. That was not possible in Slovenia. It was considered really rude. And here it's the opposite. It's considered rude if you don't come and ask and give feedback and so on. So that was a shock.
Right. Thank you so much, all of you. And just some of you mentioned the weather and the temperatures. I just want to tell you, of course, I don't know where you're all located right now, but when we had this round, at one point, it was quite difficult for me to actually hear what everybody was saying because it rained so much on the roof here, and it's actually also storming. It's the 26th of May today, so it's raining, it's storming here in Smørum, a bit northwest of Copenhagen, and I would say it would be around 12, 13 degrees. So that's Danish spring towards summer. And on that note, thank you so much for your questions again. One here that I know that lots of you want answers on. And please just raise your hands if you want to have a go on this. What advice would you give to young graduates who are seeking full-time opportunities in Denmark? So a piece of advice to people who want to do the same as you did, want to pursue full-time occupation. A piece of advice from anyone here? Come on, guys. Let me see a hand.
Yeah, sure. I can start off, and then definitely I hope others will join me. So, yeah, like a piece of advice that I would give, like when I was applying, I focused a lot on quantity rather than quality. I was blindly applying to a lot of jobs, you know, like if it says graduates, I was like, yeah, this is for me, just go for it, you know. And when you apply for so many jobs where the chances of getting that are less than 10%, you lose a lot also. So there's a lot of rejections also that comes into a place, and that kind of disheartens you. You lose your spirit, and you know, you feel less motivated. And after a while, I realized, okay, I'm not doing it correctly, and that is what I started focusing on jobs that actually were concerning me and something that was of, you know, really aligned with my expectations and with my qualifications. And somehow things started working, you know, in falling in place, and somehow it helped. And this time, before applying, I started reaching out to people whose names were given in the application, and that really kind of helps, actually. They remember you when you apply, you know, like you talk to them and you get to know more about the job. So counting in every factor, this was what kind of changed for me, and I started getting replies from the recruiter. And yeah, sooner or later, I landed a job, actually, so yeah.
Great. Yeah, Thais first.
From my perspective, I think in Denmark, or at least in Novo Nordisk, it's not only about being very smart and having a lot of experience. It's also about being motivated to get the job. So it's how much you want it, how much you think you can contribute to Novo Nordisk, how much value you can bring to the company. They really appreciate that. They really take into account how good you'll fit with your colleagues in the department, and that's very, very important. So if
how do you show them that, Thais?
How do you
show that motivation?
I think it's just something about the way you speak when you are presenting yourself, you're presenting your expectations towards the company or in the interview, how much you like to learn about something that maybe you're not so experienced about, but you really like to know about it, or how much you will also like to embrace other projects that not just the ones that are described on the job description, because sometimes things get out of the description. So I think it's to show that to the interviews that counts a lot to get a job in here.
Is that also, do you think, a question of research that you maybe in your case knew a lot about Novo before entering? So you actually showed them that you did your research.
I did my research. I had a lot of friends that were working for Novo and were like me. So they were students before, and then after they get a job. So they taught me that, and now I'm sharing that tip with you guys because I think it really worked for me. I got the job in my first interview, so I'm very happy about that. And thanks to my colleagues who gave me the tip before.
Yeah, Anna.
I'm completely aligned with what you guys said. I think for me it was very important. I actually only applied for 3 jobs in my life, and I got the dream job right there. And what I did, I really did the homework. I really studied what is the purpose of the company that I applied for? What are the values? And then when I wrote my application letter, I really tried to present how do I fit in this story, and how can I contribute to not just the job, but the whole aspect, right? The whole company. I think that was very important. And then another thing that I found as a very Danish specific was that Danes are not just looking for a person that will do the job, but they are looking for a colleague, somebody that they will talk to about their weekend on Monday morning, and they want to share, they want to talk about how's the new restaurant and how are new running sneakers. It's not just the job, it's really a much bigger aspect, and you actually have to present that when you apply for the job. You have to put your personality out there and explain what are your passions, what do you do in your free time. That's very important in Denmark.
Yeah, Cecilia?
Yes, so I think I would like to say 2 things. One is that you have to really know yourself and see where you stand and which kind of chances you can get. And it takes some time. For me, it took some try and error of applying to many jobs. Especially, I knew that it was going to be hard for me if I wanted to work in Europe, but I was living in Mexico. So I said, okay, I know it's going to be hard, so what's my strategy? And I focused on that. So I was applying to many jobs, but I had to do a quick screening of, okay, this requires experience, so I know it's not something that I can get. And in line with that, the second thing is be ready for rejection. I know people that, friends that tell me, yes, I'm looking for a job, and now how is it going? And they say, yes, I just got a rejection, so maybe I will apply to another one next week. I need some time to recover from the rejection. And I'm like, no, don't wait. I mean, yes, you will get rejected, but that's normal. It's not saying that you're bad or you're missing competences. Sometimes the profile is just better from another person. It fits better. It can be many, many things that don't necessarily say you're bad. So just go on. Just recover fast. As fast as you recover, then that's, I think, good advice that I can give you.
Yes.
So I think if I reflect back 2 years, 2-3 years back, I think the biggest advice I would give myself and to everyone is, of course, be selective on where you want to apply, but don't give it the importance that this is the dream job and this is it, and you can't move into different spaces afterwards, right? So when you apply, look at your competence, look at where you can contribute. And for example, I was really excited about sustainability, and there weren't any openings in Maersk. And I wanted to apply for operations. I wanted to learn more about it, right? So it's not like there is just this one job with that one title that will turn up at the time that you're applying. Keep an open mind, and of course, rejection is a part of the game, absolutely. And while it's disheartening, also look at where you would be a fit, right? Sometimes it just gets filtered out for you that maybe this is not the right place for you, right? So yeah, these are two things that I would give as advice. Keep an open mind to different roles. You can always move into your passion areas. And secondly would be, to deal with rejection, and it's all right.
And now I'm just curious, Arundhati, because you speak about this sustainability theme that's, of course, also one of the big themes and topics right here today. So I'm just curious, because you said, okay, maybe the exact dream job on that field wasn't available, but then when you're in your current job, do you kind of put some of that agenda into your job right now?
Yeah, so I had 2 rotations in my program. The first one was in strategic sourcing, which is how you work with your suppliers. It wasn't outwardly sustainability related, but I learned a lot about the processes that we had in our company and how we were contracting with suppliers. And then I worked in fleet operations, where it's all the vessels that we have. So while it wasn't necessarily, my title didn't say sustainability, it really helped to learn different parts of the organization. How do we actually work? And then try to locate it in terms of sustainability, right? So for me, it was more rewarding to have a job where I knew that it was contributing to a larger agenda, and also knowing how it worked. And now that I'm in decarbonization, I do take a lot of the learnings that I have, because I have more awareness about how the company works and the business that we're in, and that really helps. So in terms of sustainability, 2 years back, I would have liked a title that says sustainability. 2 years on, I think it didn't really matter. Yeah.
And another question here from Philip. To people who did a master's in Denmark, during your studies, were you able to find a part-time position in your field that you managed maybe to also convert to a full-time? Anna?
I didn't, but I know many people who did. It is very desirable to do some kind of a part-time job, and most of those that did that actually continued and have now full-time employment, full-time jobs.
Right. And do you know, just based on your talks with these people, if they're your friends, I mean, how they managed to do it?
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just applied. It was mostly in the IT sector. Those guys, they are really needed. And they could just work in the afternoons, couple of hours, besides studying, and they all had jobs before they submitted their thesis, basically.
Yeah.
Really
needed.
impressive.
Really needed. Yeah.
Well, I haven't graduated yet, so I think I'm a very clear example of that. I should be graduated by now, and I decided to do an internship, which was full-time. And my parents were like, oh no, but you're going to graduate 6 months later that you're supposed to, because in Spain you have to follow this very straight line, and graduate just on your time. And I found out that doesn't matter in Denmark. It matters more when are you ready to do the task. And so I decided to take the internship, which was full-time. And I was very lucky, because then from full-time I went to part-time, still internship, still during my studies. And from there, because you can only be an intern for a year, then from there, in January, I started as a student assistant. And I am going to be a student assistant until I graduate. So that's going to give me 2 years of experience in Novo Nordisk as a student. I also had the chance to make a special course together with DTU in Novo Nordisk. I'm also going to do my thesis with Novo Nordisk. So I'm full-time with Novo Nordisk, everything. And I think that's going to give me a lot of opportunities after, if you compare me to a person that hasn't put the effort into, with their time, into gaining experience and combining it with the studies. I actually have gained so much experience at Novo Nordisk that has helped me also with my courses at DTU. So it was a two-way learning that led me here. And I also have some friends that did what I did, and that's what I did it. That was my strategy. And they have a full position now. So I think it's a very good strategy, but I'm not gonna lie, it's very time consuming. It's very demanding from you to make the effort every day to combine all those tasks from DTU and we're studying, and also a job. So you really have to make the effort, and I think it makes a total change when you're a foreigner coming to Denmark. Then you show a bit more of interest that you want to stay, and then you're gonna make a difference with the rest of the international. So it makes you point out,
Yeah, exactly. And what is interesting also, if I'm hearing you right, that also maybe a learning point for you would be not to, stick totally strict with the schedule and the plan, but also being open-minded to, just put another pattern into your education.
Exactly.
Is that true?
Yeah. You learn in a different way, especially if the task that you're going to do are somehow related to what you like or what you are interested about. So I had the chance to learn a lot about regulations and how they combine with my area that I probably wouldn't have learned just from my studies. So I think it has helped me a lot, and it has actually made me discover that there are many options out there than just what you see at your studies.
Right, and thank you so much. I think I know a topic that would always interest people that would like to do the same as you did. Language, Danish. Yeah. So how important for you is it in your current job situation to speak Danish, to understand Danish? How do you cope with that? Sylvia?
My environment is very, very international, so it's not that I need Danish at all. Everything it's in Danish and in English, so if you are fluent enough in English, you can easily get a job in Denmark. That's my advice, because I've been here for a year and a half, but it's also because of Corona that the Danish lessons have been closed. And so far I've been doing my whole PhD and my life in English, so I think it's all right, but I really encourage people to learn Danish. It's very, very nice, especially if you want to have a social environment.
Yeah. Swarup?
It kind of depends on the line that you're working on or the area that you're working on. I'm a technical guy, so I do more or less like the coding and stuff. So I'm at the back end kind of. So I do interact with a lot of clients, but not directly. And
so you just sit there all alone coding all day.
I have some people accompanying me, but I try not to do that alone part. Okay, but how it goes is it depends on the role. Like sometimes clients are very specific. They want somebody who speaks Danish, and sometimes in my case, my company is like, okay, this is the best we have got. It doesn't speak Danish, so, and it has always worked out. So people are also flexible about that here. So that's, it has not always been challenging. But at the same time, it's something that you should always, it's good to learn a language, if you want to be the part of the society and you want to integrate more into this new country that you have just moved in. So I think it's very important that you should keep learning the language. At the same time, you can start without that. But in the long run, you will definitely need it, like 5 or 6 years down the lane or something more than that,
Right.
Something that will definitely come into the picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Cecilia?
Yes, so in Demant, the corporate language is English. So work-wise, strictly work-wise, is not needed in this company. You go all your way with English, everything is in English, all meetings are in English. It's only at lunch if you want to socialize more with everyone and outside of work as well. That's when you would need Danish, at least in my experience, that's how it's been. And I have started to learn Danish after I arrived, after a few months. And after 1 year and a half, more or less, of learning it, I can say it is hard to pronounce. It's doable, takes a lot of practice. But in essence, it's doable. It's perfectly doable to learn it, especially if you know other languages already.
Okay, and time is running, so I'll just put another question that maybe you guys can have a go at. It's Sam asking, how important is diversity in your company? Do you feel that as an international employee that your nationality is valued? I think that's an interesting question. Who wants to have a go at that? Yeah, Anna?
Yeah, I think that my colleagues find me very interesting because I come from Slovenia, and they're always wondering about the weather in Slovenia and what is my family doing right now and what am I going to eat for Christmas, and they soak it in, and I think that I contributed a little bit with my culture to the working environment, and they liked that. They were super open for it, and they want more. Yeah, Anna, when are you going to bring some Slovenian food?
Okay, interesting. So they're really curious.
Yes,
yeah,
very
Jordan.
curious.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that nationality is at all important. The company. I think when I started on the academy in February, there was 10 of us, and I think there was maybe 2 Danish people, and everyone else was from all around the world. So I think it's very diverse, and I don't think it really matters where you come from. I think, to be honest, the people who you're working with, especially the Danes, what they more value is, if you can speak a little bit of Danish, not that it's valuable in the position, but I think they really appreciate that you're making an effort with them.
Right. Anyone else? Yeah.
I think my nationality is valued in my place of work. I think it's a melting pot of cultures, and it's amazing the different far-fetched cultures you get to meet in the office. And I think diversity is in the center of what Musk wants to do, so in the company, and you can feel it in our daily work and the amount of interaction I have with colleagues. A lot of them are not even in Denmark most of the time, so they're not Danish. So it's amazing to be exposed to so many cultures, and I think people feel enriched by that because, yeah, you learn new things about these places, and I feel respected, right? So I don't think it's an impediment, and I also feel that, diversity makes us better because you have a diversity of thought, you have a diversity of perspectives, and that just leads to better problem solving. So it's just fun to go to work when you have different cultures, right?
Right. Just one last question, maybe, because I think that's interesting. Some of you out there sent us about this topic, and I also wrote something about that because it's really obvious about COVID-19, the whole pandemic, the situation right now, how that situation might have affected your lives, because not only in your work situation, but also in your private life. I mean, how has that maybe motivated you to stay here, being, well, apart from family and your home country? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when it started, it was a bit of surprise, like working from home and all this scenario of not seeing people anymore, and it went on for a while, but there was a lot of effort from my company, KPMG, where they focused a lot on, they had workshops to support you, like to have this, to have a, the mental understanding of how you're being affected and how you can improve. So there was a lot of support from the company. For some reasons, or not for some reasons, for COVID reasons, I was not able to go to my home country for 2 years. And they also kind of allowed me to do that in March, like you can work from there, so just manage the time difference. So you could say like there was a lot of support from the company that really helped to, kind of make a transition from this period. Now it has become the new normal kind of, so it's very easy. We have a good balance, like if you feel like coming to work, you can work from the office or you can work from home. The focus is on getting the work done rather than, hours or where you are spending it in that way. So I think it's a very good initiative from the company that helped me to cross this path kind of, so yeah.
Right. Sylvia?
Yeah, the same situation goes for me. I'm a PhD and I work in the lab 24/7 mostly, so I cannot work from home. I need a lab, so it was very hard for me at the beginning when suddenly my supervisor just called me like, you cannot work from home. I mean, you have to work from home. You just need to go to the lab and, throw everything because, I have things growing. So you have to throw everything away. And it was very shocking. But at the end of the day, I knew what I'm in for in Denmark. So I have the commitment with me and with the project and with Christian Hansen. But on the other hand, Christian Hansen has been very, very supportive. So I can easily reach my managers, my leaders, and say, like, I have to come, and pretty much also for my mental health. It's very stressful just to be at home, just looking at the computer, because I'm not like you, like I'm typing all the time. I can read and work and write, but just the matter of commuting, it was a big change for me in my head. And my manager, she was like, if you feel like coming, just come. You don't have to write me an email or something. Oh, well, you have to let me know that you are in, but otherwise just feel free to come. And I think Christian Hansen has also provided a lot of tools for all of the employees, not talking about of myself, but I think for everyone, it's been very clear that we got your back in this situation. Yeah.
great place to stop. Thank you so much, Sylvia. On that great note, I think, and hopefully we're all on our way out of this situation. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your experiences. Great seeing you up here. Thank you so much. And of course, again, thank you so much for contributing in such a great way through Slido, putting all the great questions to the representatives here. Please do not hesitate to keep on going, because when we're back in a moment, it will be all the executives from the same company standing here. I guess you would have lots of questions to them as well. We'll just have a short break, approximately 5 minutes, and then be back after a short video. See you.
When I dance, people think I have been born like that. I like going to salsa classes or just dance for myself at home. I cannot live without music. Music has always been a big part of my life. I was playing the piano in a band when I was younger, and I still do it for myself. When I want to relax, the sound of piano helped me doing so. Even now, when I get a baby, I'm looking forward to play a lot of cute music for it. I'm a dynamic person with lots of energy. I like being physically active by doing various sports. Here in Copenhagen, I have joined the volleyball club, where it feels good to meet with my team and get going. Now, while being pregnant, I have teamed up with my partner, and we do long walks around our neighborhood or some fascinating basketball shots. When I started studying engineering many years ago, I literally cried as I was afraid of losing the focus of what is so crucial to me, music and dynamic environment. Then I discovered the field of acoustics and audio within engineering, and I got crazy about that. In Oticon, we do beautiful engineering. Engineering that brings music to people's lives. Engineering that challenges me and my team intellectually and seeks our creativity. But the most important, my daily work resonates with my passion, the sound. How cool is that?
The early morning is the best part of my day. At that time, I usually take my dog for a walk in the fresh air. I love spending time outside. My wife and I, we live in a small village with just a couple of houses and a forest close by. We have a huge garden and we grow our own vegetables and our own fruits. We value the peace and quiet that we found out here. But I also enjoy being active with others. My great passion is ultimate frisbee. I've been traveling around the world to take part in competitions, and in 2016 I became Denmark's best player. Now I'm coaching the younger players. I really like to help them on their way and see them improving. We all appreciate being part of a team and know that we can only grow if you're curious and ready to learn. You need to have a strong focus on the techniques, but most important is respect. If you back each other up and show respect, you get a long way. I'm ambitious and I like to get better at what I do. Here at Oticon, I have plenty of possibilities for new learnings every day. And I'm not alone. Our team strive to move forward together. We all share this childlike curiosity for technical tasks. And we can be creative too. And that is just awesome.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the headquarters of Demant. I was just told before, I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember that I mentioned the weather. It was kind of difficult to hear what we were saying before, and then I mentioned it was because it was raining. I was just told, I couldn't see that actually, it was actually hailing. So that's the weather in Denmark in May. Right now I think it's more fine. So welcome back, and really pleased to proceed with the agenda now with a panel of executives from the companies that are present to this year's conference. So welcome all of you. 7 people here. I know that the representative from Novo is a little late, but we'll definitely get here. And please remember just to use Slido again as much as you want. Just put your questions, and I will, of course, ask the representatives here all your questions out there. So, just like we did before, maybe it would be nice to just have a quick introduction round so you all know who are present right here on stage. So, around 1 minute each I'll give you to just do a brief introduction.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline. I am the Managing Director of Bayer here in Denmark. Bayer is a German company operating worldwide. We are represented in over 120 countries, have around about 100,000 employees around the globe. We are operating in the life science sector, focusing on nutrition and health. And I'm very glad to be here today as we have the opportunity to get to know you and also to present Bayer as hopefully an attractive employer for you in the future. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Yes, I'll continue. I'm Klaus. I'm from Novozymes, and I have a confession to make.
Really?
Yeah, I used to have long hair, and I used to be a member of Greenpeace. And business, that was really the bad guys, because they were destroying the planet and they were exploiting people. So I was looking for a role. How can I make a difference in that environment? And I realized that the only way forward was really to find out how can you make business sustainable? How can you make business a force for good that do the right things for people and do the right thing for the planet and make a profit out of it?
So instead of fighting it from the outside, you're actually fighting it from the inside now.
Yeah, and I'm still that activist. Like in Greenpeace days, I'm just working in Novozymes, so I'm using a much more powerful tool because we are a biotech company, and what we sell to our customers is the ability to reduce energy consumption, water consumption, and chemical consumption. Better for people, better for the environment. And what we're looking for is really great talent that has a passion for making the world a better place through business.
And Klaus, I'm just curious now. I'm making it more than 1 minute, I'm sorry. But I'm just curious now, I'm a journalist, you know. Did you mention your Greenpeace past during the whole process of getting the job at Novozymes?
Yeah, already back then when I got a job, and that's 15 years ago, there was a CEO that shared the same passion and mission for making the world a better place.
Thank you. Thank you, Klaus.
Hi, my name is Frances Liu. I lead sustainability and ESG services at KPMG here in Denmark. As you might know, KPMG is a professional services company focusing on audit and advisory. We have a network of 150 countries, over 200,000 people worldwide. We here in Denmark are around 700, and that's been achieved in 7 years' time. We restarted KPMG, as you might know, here in 2014. I myself am not Danish. So some time ago, I was a young international talent myself, graduating from CBS. On my team, Sustainability and ESG Services, we focus on advising large Danish international clients on sustainability issues, everything from sustainability strategy through to reporting ESG disclosures in the areas of climate change, sustainable finance, human rights, et cetera, et cetera.
And then just one follow-up question for you also. So what made you stay in Denmark? I mean, after your graduation?
That's a good question. I think sometimes life puts you on these amazing journeys. I had not left. I'm from San Francisco. I hadn't left the 30-mile radius of San Francisco. I went to Berkeley for college, right? And I was given this really amazing scholarship through CBS, the Copenhagen Business School, where I now teach from time to time. And afterwards, I was offered this job at KPMG. Not long after, offered an opportunity to be one of the first 30 on the ground, building up a Big Four professional services firm from the ground up, and that really captivated me. I had the opportunity also to work with Lena. We sat next to each other for a number of years at Maersk, so it was really the culture, the place, and also the immense international commercial business opportunities that kept me here.
Thank you so much. And Lena?
Yeah, hi, I'm Lene Serpa. I'm head of corporate sustainability with Maersk. And so have been with Maersk for over 10 years. We are an integrated container logistics company. Of course, and truly global. We're present in over about 130 countries in the world, 80,000 employees. So I have been working, so I've been with Maersk for 10 years working with sustainability. Prior to that, was working in Novo Nordisk and also another Danish company. So I also am one of those who have been working with corporate sustainability for over 20 years. And I think one of my passions is also really how companies can create value, right? Working with sustainability. So it is about creating value for society, but certainly also for the company.
Thank you so much. Camilla?
So my name is Camilla Lerche. I'm heading up sustainability at Christian Hansen. That's a global bioscience company, quite an old one. We've been around the game for close to 150 years, so a great legacy. And sustainability in the company has been something that has been deeply rooted for many, many years, ever since the company was founded. So really we're quite mature, but still on such an amazing journey and transformation. We have a technology base that is basically around harvesting the best of nature. So we take nature's own resources and turn them into ingredients that goes into food, health, and agriculture. And about 1 billion people actually consume a Christian Hansen ingredient every day. So we also feel a big responsibility from that really great outreach to also do well and do things right. So I've been with the company for 6 years now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Camilla. Jon?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Jon, born and raised in Denmark. Did used to have long hair, not in Greenpeace though. No, okay. I work for Wunderman. For those who don't know Wunderman, we are the largest digital agency around, 30,000 people. And the Copenhagen side of that is just give and take around 700 people. I head up what we call the technology and data team. So in our team we have 40 nationalities give and take, and we represent some of the largest clients in the world, brand names, to sort of tell their story to their clients. And you can tell, well, what is that? How sustainable is that? Well, somebody got to do that job. And just like you did, within changing from Greenpeace and changing the world from the inside, we think we can do that too. We can't change it from a technology perspective, but we do play a big role in when we recruit, when we talk to our clients about the changes they can do and the technology choices we take. So I'm here today to tell that story and also hopefully to tell about how technology can be a good path forward to stay in Denmark.
Thank you, Jon. And earlier today, you met Trine. Trine is joining us again, now on the panel. Welcome again.
Thank you. And for the newcomers here and newcomers online, I can repeat that I'm head of corporate communication and relations at Demant, and this also includes sustainability. And we are a group of companies in 30 countries around the world in hearing healthcare and audio technology. And we work with brands such as Oticon, Audica, EPOS, and yeah, we're basically a multi-business, multi-brand company. For myself, I'm not educated in sustainability at all. I'm more a business generalist with a PR background, used to handling types like you, Natasha. A lot of press work.
I know that can be a very tough work.
If you know how to handle journalists, you can handle a lot.
Everything.
No, so I've translated my work with relations, so relations to various types of stakeholders for a company, and how do you work on relations in terms of sustainability is a lot on my desk right now. So that's me. Been with Demant for 5 years, and I will continue for many years because it's a great company.
And Novo's with us now. Great to see you, Nanja. Welcome. Yeah, you should just press the button.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, like that.
I'm here. Yeah,
Good.
also with sound
Good.
now.
Great.
Great. So my name is Nanja Hedda-Klopris. I'm in the Corporate Environmental Strategy Department in Novo Nordisk, leading a lot of different exciting initiatives on transforming our company to a more circular company. Novo Nordisk basically is driving change to defeat diabetes and other chronic diseases. We are a global company producing actually around half of the world's insulin, and also on a journey from diabetes to a lot of new, very exciting other treatment areas. Yes.
Great. So now we got to know all of you, and of course, one of the big topics on today's agenda is sustainability. So I would like to have a go with all of you on this topic, asking you how does your company understand the sustainability agenda, and what are you currently right now focusing on? I don't know if maybe it would be better just to we have a random go instead of doing the opposite. So who wants to go first? Anyone?
I can start.
You can start.
Yeah, so to Novozymes, sustainability is really everything we need to do to be best for the world. You can say best for the environment and best for people while still making a profit. So it's quite comprehensive. And it is so because sustainability is our formulated purpose. We formulate it as finding biological answers for creating better lives in a growing world. So that is a sustainability purpose. It's in our strategy. Our strategy is named Better Business with Biology. And that means that we use biology to make the business of our customers better. Better for people, better for the environment. And it is our top 3 focus areas is climate, it's water, and it's consumption and production. And here we play dual roles. We have our responsibility to minimize the negatives on climate, water, and waste. And we have the positives where we use our innovation power to drive a better innovation and better solutions for our customers in the same areas. So better for climate, better for water, and better use of raw materials. So it's who we are and what we do.
Lene, I guess this is a really big issue for Maersk at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think I'll start a little bit also in the wide sense that sustainability for Maersk is really about taking responsibility, about behaving responsibly, and that includes looking at our impacts on people, society, the environment, making sure we're taking responsibility for that. And it's about mitigating potential risk to our business, but it's also then about looking at where can we accelerate really our positive impacts, right, and have a positive footprint on society. And I think in that connection, we are really focused on decarbonization. As you heard my colleague Arundhati in the previous panel was mentioning, she's working in the decarbonization team. So what we've actually done as a company is set up a separate, quite large function that is specifically focused on this priority. Because this is really where we can see that we can move the needle. Maersk operating a network of 700 container vessels. We have a large footprint when it comes to CO2 emissions, climate change, and we can also, as a leader in our industry, step up and take responsibility, take lead to actually help our customers decarbonize their supply chains. So decarbonization is our biggest, I would say, strategic priority. And then in addition to that, it's not only about climate change, it's also really about safety, diversity, our supply chain, our procurement, and all of these issues. So.
Right, and I'm just thinking in Maersk, of course, it's so visible with all the big ships
Yes.
sailing around. At KPMG, slightly different. How is sustainability part of your strategy?
That's right, and sustainability, simply put, to my mind, and in the KPMG perspective, and I think I could speak on behalf of the companies here, is a way of doing business, integrating into various parts of operations, all parts of operations, that ensures a company's long-term success, long-term sustainability, and that always means taking into consideration the needs of stakeholders, the needs of the environment, not just within our own walls, but in the societies in which we operate. And I'm glad you asked this question, because sustainability for KPMG is is twofold, perhaps a little bit complicated. For a long time, our focus has been what my team works with, which is enabling and advising our clients to set future-proof targets, strategies, and taking action on them in the area of sustainability, climate change, human rights, sustainable sourcing. What we are massively scaling up, and dare I say catching up with, is our own sustainability, what we call citizenship. So we do have emissions from our offices, which in Denmark have been cut down now as a result of purchasing renewable energy from 2 years ago. We do fly to advise some of our international clients, and we have launched at the beginning of this year a global initiative called KPMG Our Impact Plan, with a number of targets set across ES and G parameters, most notably net zero emissions by 2030, so ahead of the Paris timeline. So we're working on both dimensions, both enabling as an enabler of trust, transparency, professional sustainability services, as well as our own footprint on the world.
Thank you so much. Carolyn?
Sure. So first of all, I have to say, just on a personal note, I'm just amazed how passionate and excited everybody is about that topic. When I started 10 years ago in the professional world, that was more like a buzzword. So I really have to say that is just great. And for me personally, just a win to this entire business and sector.
And maybe that could be a nice cue to how you then have experienced that journey in Bayer.
How I experienced that journey in Bayer. So first of all, I have to say a little bit what I just said also happened in Bayer. So we have done a lot in the area of sustainability in the recent years, specifically in the last 2 years, where really sustainability became one of our key levers in our strategy. And we set clear, and this is very important for me, clear, tangible targets to what we actually want to achieve, which is also measurable. Because, of course, along with buzzwords always comes this effect that it can be a lot of hot air. But here in Bayer, we really put a lot of emphasis on what do we actually do, what do we want to achieve, and how do we measure that, and how do we actually then also compensate people on that. Yeah, which also then triggers a lot of motivation. So just very concretely, what is Bayer doing in that arena? We have enabling goals as well as environmental goals. Enabling goals means more or less empowering people, so helping people to thrive, to get access to medicine, to daily medicine, helping smallholder farmers to actually get access to knowledge, how to help themselves get access to innovations in our products. And on the other hand, environmental goals, reducing our carbon footprint by 30% in 2030, becoming carbon neutral by 2030, and reducing our impact of our crop protection products by 30% by 2030. And as I said, everyone actually in the company is measured by these goals, so has an intrinsic, so to say, motivation to contribute and to reach these goals.
Thank you, Carolyn. Camilla?
So I would also say that in Christian Hansen, our sustainability position stands on several legs. First of all, climate is inevitably really important to us. We have also aligned with the Paris Agreement 1.5 degree, and are working very structured with the entire business around achieving that goal. On the other side, Christian Hansen's product also has a really great potential for enabling sustainability with our customers, all the way from farm to fork, if we look at the ecosystem of food. And that's actually where we believe we can make the biggest impact, and where, I mean, we're thrilled about doing something about the climate, but really unlocking the potential of our products and how that can eliminate not eliminate, but at least trying to reduce, for example, the overuse that we right now see with pesticides, antibiotics. It's really huge agendas for us. And also reducing food waste through natural ingredients in food. So those are some of the main themes that we try to push. And then I would say that Christian Hansen is now also at a stage where we really want to activate like everyone in the organization to become climate heroes and to become I really like the activism approach that Klaus also mentioned, where everyone can really make a difference here. It's not just about a central function, and of course the scientists have always, I believe, related a lot to our purpose of improving the world with biology also. But now, I mean, there's no one who can't apply this mindset. It's for finance, it's for the canteens, it's for the production people. Everyone can really bring something to the table. So we're spending a lot of time currently trying to really mobilize the organization around the fact that everyone can join.
And Wunderman, Thompson, how are you doing this? What are you focusing on right now?
I'd say two areas. One is our own carbon footprint. Also trying to be carbon neutral by 2030, but maybe we can be bolder than that. Maybe we can do it before that. So we're trying to be as aggressive in a good way to see if we can sort of accelerate that journey, reduce our own carbon footprint in terms of travels, how we work. A lot of data work, a lot of development is done using Teams. And the pandemic just accelerated that to a lot of different organizations, but to us it's always been core. So we're looking to see how we can get productivity within those teams to the next level. And this is not also with us, but also our clients, because yes, we can say this, but if our clients ask us to jump on an airplane and go to them, it doesn't really matter. So there's a cultural change. So I'd say the carbon footprint is one. The second is how we look at equal opportunity. And for us, that's culture. We, as I said before, we got 40 nationalities, maybe 50 in our team. We really don't care where you're from. As long as you're really, really good and really skilled and you fit into the culture and the goals we have, there's a good seat for you at the table. And then secondly, we don't really think about educational background either. So as long as you have a passion and you believe in what we want to do, there's a seat as well. And then thirdly, gender. So being from a from a technology company, it's not always easy to find data scientists, for instance, with a big passion from a female perspective. We measure our pipeline when we look and we hire, and we can see where it's different than other roles. But we tried because we really firmly believe that the best teams are built out of diversity from culture and from backgrounds and from gender. So I'd say those are the two.
And then in Novo, what would be the main focus right now, talking about sustainability agenda?
Yeah, you could say from a social point of view, of course, it's easy to find the purpose in making people's lives better. I think that's kind of the basis where we start. We have been doing that for almost 100 years now, so that's a good baseline to start from. And of course, we have also been looking into how can we improve on social and environmental responsibility. In the social part, we are going much more into looking at how can we prevent disease. How can we make sure that people have access to treatment? I think that's a really key point also. And from the environmental side of things, we are also on a transition. Of course, CO2, carbon footprint, and so on is still a very, very big issue. But we are also taking the journey into a more circular mindset, thinking about what we purchase, what are the materials made of, setting requirements to our suppliers. Also looking at the products, how can we take responsibility for all the plastic injection devices that will be wasted at some point in time when the patients are done, starting to pilot take-back programs and so on. And it's like expanding from something where we have been really good in the, you could say, in the company to improve, and we have achieved 100% renewable power at all our sites and so on. So it's really actually a transition now into something that is much more across the supply chain, and also embracing new topics, also like that biodiversity, for example. We've starting to take that discussion now also. So I think it's a really interesting journey also, as you mentioned on Christian Hansen, that in Novo Nordisk we are also taking the approach that this is everybody's business. And I think that we have just seen that maybe I'm an environmental engineer as a background, sitting in headquarters, working with sustainability. Of course, people expect me to do something, but also saying to everyone in Novo Nordisk, we expect you to take responsibility. And the best thing about that is people want to do it. They just need to have some help in seeing what they can do to support the overall strategy. And I think that has really been a nice journey to be on, and looking at IT people, HR partners, everyone wants to do this, and they're taking what they're doing at home in terms of sorting, waste, thinking about sustainability, that they find out they can actually bring that to work. And even I've seen people moving from positions that were not sustainability positions into sustainability because they actually could take their private passion and bring it into their work. I think that's a beautiful story. Yeah.
And Trine, as part of the home team here today, working with Demant, you actually did a whole presentation earlier today on this topic. But anything you just like to add after hearing the other?
Yeah, I think I really echo you, Christian Hansen, because the whole change management part of working, I don't think we are kind of activism style in Demant, but the idea of mandating, giving employees mandate to use topics of sustainability in their specialist functions, management function, wherever they are, is really big on our agenda at the moment. And then I would just say giving access, providing awareness of what helps people is also something that is actually on our agenda and a little bit troublesome, because when we go out and look at where does the world need help, where can we supply our products, of course there's a whole developing countries issue, and if there is no infrastructure in a developed country, we cannot get access with our products. So before we can provide our fantastic innovative products, we need infrastructure. Some of it we can build ourselves, but we don't build hospitals. We don't build healthcare systems. So if healthcare systems aren't properly developed in rising countries, then we can't get access and we can't create awareness. And that's actually one of the biggest challenges we're facing with providing hearing for people.
Thank you. And then let's, after this more overall view on this topic, cut to the bone together with one of you out there. Alan, a really good question here. So can any of the panel members mention one significant change in their respective companies that increased sustainability? Klaus?
Yeah, when I started in Novozymes 15 years ago, I was actually invited in by the former CEO to find out how do we connect the sustainability agenda to the business agenda. I mean, it was a strong responsibility agenda, reducing the negatives, but how could we connect it to the growth agenda, to the business agenda? And I came there as a happy sustainability warrior, and I wanted to...
Right there, I thought you would say a happy hippie. But
yeah, exactly. Something like that, the corporate hippie.
Yeah.
And I met a sales organization like this. The customers are not asking. So that was, and the biggest change was to find a way to make them see that it was their role as sales organization, as the commercial organization, to find out how can we make the customers the hero in the marketplace towards the consumers by using sustainability to do that. Because sustainability was a value like all the other product qualities, and it was their role in the commercial organization to sell that value. That was a breakthrough. And the story that made that breakthrough is very long. We don't have time for that. But that breakthrough was very, very important. And that is still alive, and that's still what we do. We know that we don't sell enzymes and microorganisms. We sell better solutions, sustainable solutions to our customers.
Camilla?
Yeah, so I would like to broaden out the sustainability paradigm to also cover diversity, which has also been mentioned several times today, because I think a significant event for Christian Hansen, because we do employ also a plus 50 nationalities. So actually, when a Mexican CEO took the helm a few years ago, sent quite a strong signal to all our colleagues around the world that it is doable. This company, you can actually go all the way up. And he has done an incredible job really making a more diverse leadership team. Meanwhile, we have also been the first C25 company to have a female chair of the board. That has also sent a lot of great role modeling signals down to the organization, where I know that a lot of female aspiring talents have been very, just, empowered to see a woman in that position. So I think that's also sustainability for us, right? That we also drive social progress, and indeed having the role models, then the rest of the organization can lean towards and see that it's within reach.
Yeah, Trine, you?
Yeah, so I was thinking there's a sandwich of events that kind of puts a demand on a company to act in this area, and of course, there are the customers and the employees, but I must say that a really important event is that when the investor community starts to talk about ESG, they call it typically in that side of things. The more our major owners, our shareholders ask us about our progression in sustainability, the more focus we see from the board, from the top management, and also pressure from below, from employees asking constantly their managers, what are we doing in this area? How can we improve? But I must say, it does make a difference when money talks, and it is investor community that holds that power. So seeing large investment funds, companies around the world starting to talk about sustainability makes me happy all the time, because I know that also makes other people listen.
Right, and Nandja?
Yes, I think we have, maybe all of us, plenty of examples of headquarter setting a strategy, making a plan, putting aside budget and implementing stuff on sustainability. I think that's not the difficult part, because that's what we see we can do. And of course, maybe sometimes also in Novo Nordisk we need to argue for doing this. It's not a quick fix. But I actually wanted to bring one of the examples coming from bottom up, where we knew that we had, as I said, devices on the market that are not really recyclable. It's made of different materials and so on. And we were like being asked by patients, is this product recyclable? And I said, no, it's really not. You know, maybe if you had it all in different components, a part of it would be recyclable, but no, it's really not. And the thing is that we have the same type of waste in our production. So when we have assembled the devices, we have some waste that would go to incineration in Denmark. In other countries, it might go to landfill. And we had a very clever and innovative employee inventing a machine that could crush these devices, sort the different plastic fractions and glass and rubber and so on, and actually make recyclable fractions out of this. And that led to us thinking, wow, maybe it's possible to do something at the end of life of our products. Maybe we can take responsibility instead of waiting for someone 10 years from now to invent something when they have sorted, you could say, or fixed all the problems on just recycling household waste in general. So I think this is a really good example of something that has actually made a difference, and where it's quite important that the employees can show and help us demonstrate that this is possible, and maybe also push us a little in a new direction that we thought was not possible.
Right, and I just remember now that one of the representatives in the previous panel debate, one of the young representatives from your company said that I think it was Cecilia from Demant actually saying that when she thought of Denmark before she moved here, she thought of clean and green. And I'm just wondering, for a company like Maersk, Lene, Denmark is and wants to be a front runner on this area. How does that put a pressure on a company like Maersk?
Yeah, so I don't see it as a pressure as such, but I see it as a great strength, right? And I think that Maersk, as I was saying before, Maersk is really a global company and operating all over the world. But we are also based in Denmark, right? And our culture and our values are very much founded in Denmark. And so the ambitions of the Danish government, I think, are quite aligned, right, with the ambitions that we also have to take lead on behalf of our industry. So, of course, you could say for shipping is a global industry, obviously, right? So we are also oriented.
But you're a great part of that global industry.
Yes, absolutely. But it's just to say that the goals of the Danish government when it comes to decarbonization don't always directly translate to us as a operating globally, right? So, but I think that let's say probably the values and the cultural aspect of prioritizing, right, sustainability and this tradition that we have of valuing as you say, being clean and green is something that we also take into the way that we operate our business, right? But I think that if reflecting on your question just before, in terms of, or the question from the audience,
exactly, the significant
the
change.
significant change. I think the one that I would like to highlight is really that what we did in 2018 when we went out and set this, at the time, quite pioneering for our industry target of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. And when we did that, we did not actually, we didn't have the sort of the full-blown plan for how we're going to get there.
The ways of getting there.
No, but we just knew that, we've been working with energy efficiency for many years. We've achieved over 46% reduction of our CO2 emissions, but that in itself is not going to get us to zero. So by going out and setting that kind of bold ambition of saying we have to be at zero by 2050 is also as much a statement to the industry to say this is the direction we have to move in, and we want you to join us, right? We need our suppliers, we need our customers, we need the regulators and everyone to partner with us on the way. And that is really helped to, and then I'm very much agree to the point about the investors, right? Which really just in the last maybe 1 or 2 years, there's just been a huge rise in the focus from the investor side, which is also creating a whole new momentum around sustainability and indeed ESG, as we're also beginning to talk more and more about internally, sharpening the focus on what are the goals, what are the targets, how are we reporting to the external world on our ambitions and our performance.
Right, and sorry.
Completely agree with everything that's been said, and maybe to address both the previous question and this question on leadership and ambition level, I think it's safe to say sustainability never sleeps. We're only at the base of the hockey stick, the inflection point, with the interest now coming from the investment community, from civil society, from employees, from leadership themselves. And I think that's a really key point in working with sustainability is this, we talk often about trend spotting, what's on the horizon. Only 5 years ago, a reduction target that was relative to growth was sufficient and was seen as a sufficient, maybe even leadership target. Fast forward to today, you have to be net zero, at least net neutral, right? In order to be taken seriously and to be seen as a leader. And this pushing of the envelope, seeing not just what stakeholders, all stakeholders, investors, all the way through to academia, NGOs, activists want today is very important, but what they want tomorrow is equally important. And I will say that it's not that what climate needs and what society needs is changing. It's the investors' understanding, it's corporate understanding that continues to move and move and move. And this is what's so exciting, I think, about being in the field of sustainability, especially at this time, at this inflection point.
Thank you. Yeah, Caroline, you can have a go.
Just sorry, one last comment to that
Sure.
one, because
Sure,
of course I'm agreeing to all what has been said. But just another interesting point as well is talents and the new talent pool and the next generation. Different to how it was in the past. Nowadays, people are specifically asking for that. Yeah? They are measuring you. So are you actually an interesting employer for them, not the other way around? So in order to be attractive on the talent market, also sustainability and amongst other topics are very important for us as companies.
Right, and just allow me to leave the sustainability agenda just for a moment at least, because I know that some of you out there might be the future employees with some of you right here. So of course, a question that's really relevant for you to ask is when you hire a new graduate, what do you value the most? I know it's a really difficult question, but I was just remembering right now, that when you talked before, you said, well, your educational background might not be the key issue for you. So what do you value the most?
Good question. Personality, cultural fit, and we don't tend to have interviews. We prefer to have conversations about...
What's the difference?
Well, I can just tell the difference when I say this. Hopefully, you don't will feel this is an interview. I hope this is going to be a conversation. I can just see shoulders relaxing. I can see, tension is disappearing from the screen nowadays. Because it's more about who are you actually, who's behind the screen, what's your ambitions. It could be climate, it could be something else, right? It's not only that. And so for us, it's about that they understand, any candidate would understand what we do. We work with really, really large data set. That's our business. You got to have a passion for data and technology. Around all that, we got all these things. Sustainability is one, equality is another thing. So a whole good conversation piece around that to begin with is a really good starting point. And then we get into the other aspects about hard skills, soft skills, etc. But if the personality and the fit isn't there, it's really tough. It's a tough start.
Trine?
So I have the whole HR department around me here.
So
it's a
watch
little bit
what you're
of pressure.
saying, yeah.
But I know that what is extremely important for Demant is a little bit in the line of what you're saying. What's the character of this person? How does new candidates, you could say, I don't want to say fit in, but walk along with us with the values we have in this company? We are a company that's more than 100 years old, and trust has been a huge driver for our company to become what we are today. The way we trust people, the way we trust our customers, we trust our users, we trust our partners, we trust each other. A really, really important value for us. And if that isn't existing in a relationship between us and a candidate, it would never become anything. And then I think there's something about attitude when we meet candidates, and I think Aurund Hati from Maersk earlier on said it quite nicely. She said, 2 years ago I wanted to become a sustainability manager. Now I'm just doing my job, but I manage sustainability. And I think being realistic about who am I, that's also what our candidate said, who am I and how do I contribute into this company with the values I have, with the profession I have, and how can we make this work? That's extremely important for us.
Right, Carolyn, a company like Bayer, what do you value the most when hiring young people?
I think I can only build on what has been said. The passion about the company, what we're doing, fitting into the culture. We have a very, very strong company culture. Put a lot of emphasis on that one. But what is for me the most important is to be actually willing to develop. Because I think the guys here before said it. It doesn't mean necessarily where you start you will end up with. Yeah. So we put a lot of importance on the development of our people. We invest in our people. So the willingness to develop and to actually know where you want to develop, yeah,
right,
is very important. And also, me personally, I just employed 2 candidates that came from a completely different industry, completely different education background, etc. But what was important for me was this roll up your sleeves mentality. Get it done, yeah. We want to change something, we want to do something, we want to achieve something, and you're part of that. So becoming part of the team, this community is what counts the most.
And I'm just wondering, just to be curious, maybe that could also be interesting for all of you out there. I asked the young representatives the same before, like the aha experience. When you sit there on the other side of the table in front of a candidate, can you remember maybe some aha experience where you got, really surprised? It could be either ways, but maybe today, mostly the good way. So it could be inspirational that, a candidate, like you said, with a total different background surprised you in a way?
So of course it's, first of all, it's the personal fit, the personality. Yeah, do you feel the candidate, yes or no? And on the other hand, also what is very important for me, the aha moment is when a candidate actually expresses what he wants, yeah? When he knows what he wants. And this can be in various areas, not only related now to the specific job or function he would like to apply in, but has values and convictions. That is important for me because this enriches our culture and our convictions in what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Klaus?
So in neuroscience, what we're looking for when we recruit is very much what is your motivation? And no surprise, we are looking for people that are motivated by being part of this course to make the world a better place, because that is what we do for our customers, so that they can do that for the world. So we are looking for that motivation and that passion about that. But passion is not enough, because we really need the best brains. And so we're not looking for the best sustainability brains. We're looking for the best brains in science, the best brain in sales and commercial. But they have to share this passion, because that is our purpose, that's who we are, that's what we do. But really, the best brains that has that passion, that drive, that is what we're looking for.
Right, I'm just curious, I want to challenge you now, Klaus, because of course no one will go to an interview with you saying, I want to make the world a worse place. So to be more specific, I mean, how do you sense that? How do you sense that this is a person who really are on the right path?
Yeah, but it's about having an open mind, a mindset that is a growth mindset, a mind that is ready to be challenged, ready to try new things, ready to learn and grow, because the sustainability world and the business area for neuroscience is new territory, and we need to learn a lot. We even encourage our colleagues to fail, because if you don't fail, you don't experiment enough, you don't try new borders enough. So it's that mindset, that's innovative mindset, that's challenging mindset we're looking for.
Right. What about KPMG, Francis? What do you value the most when you hire?
I very much echo what's been said already, this continuous learning mindset. As I mentioned earlier, sustainability doesn't sleep. We need to future-proof. We need to constantly look for what is the next framework investors are looking for. Right now, it's Bloomberg's TCFD on climate-related financial risk. What is it tomorrow? And that very much speaks to the need for someone that's never too old, never too experienced, to continue to learn and push the boundaries and continue to bridge what the environment and society need and what business and investors need to do to extract the value and mitigate the risks out of it.
And what about Maersk, Line?
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking, what can I add to all these great things that have already been said? I mean, I think one of the things that strikes me that I would like to highlight also is really the importance of somehow a stakeholder mindset, right? Also in a collaborative approach, and that's also part of being curious, I think, and being open to the needs, the expectations of the external world, being oriented to what our customers are looking for, what our communities are looking for, and what society is needing and looking for. But then also, and I think I was struck by also one comment from the panel before, who was making the point about knowing yourself also, right? I mean, and coming in, having an idea about how can I contribute. So I think that kind of roll up the sleeves mentality combined with a sense of engagement, right, in the company and in our purpose, and being willing to be part of that, as we all need to be, right, to deliver on the sustainability and the business goals.
But maybe you can add a bit, I think, in terms of not only like echoing some of the great things that have been said, because I think that Maersk as a company, at least in some mindsets, is characterized a bit conservative. Maybe, like Klaus said, it's okay to fail sometimes. I think maybe people would think, ooh, that's not allowed in Maersk because this is really, conservative. How did that change, if it's changed? Because I guess it has.
No, I think it's an interesting question because you're completely right. I think our culture is changing quite a bit, right, currently in the last couple of years. And people have a traditional view of Maersk as this, blue suits and shipping and conservative, and that's not how we are today, really, and it's certainly not how we are becoming, right? So we are becoming much more of an IT-based company, much more in logistics. So the culture of the company and the talents that we're looking to recruit are also much more in a different, in a completely different, let's say, culture or mindset than shipping traditionally, right? And I think that is definitely well understood and recognized also by let's say the management of the company, that we also as a culture need to change. No, we can't. It's one of the very sort of I guess a concrete example of that is also a couple of years ago when actually the expectation to wear a tie for men at the office has now changed to it's almost viewed as a little bit strange.
And that's kind of breaking news in Maersk, I have to say.
Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you. So because time is running, I'm going to add on a bit on the question here because there's something in the same field. Where is it? Yeah, tell us a bit about a foreign employee that you've been part of the hiring process and what sealed the deal. So not only about, what are you looking for, but also in the concrete example of someone international being hired. Camilla.
Yeah, so I recently, like a year ago, hired an international profile, and it was, you don't know when you put a job posting up what exactly you will get, but I did have an idea that for this specific position, which was like a media relations officer, that it would be great for Christian Hansen to have someone who were more experienced with international media. So we ended up hiring a man from Belgium, and it has been a really, really great thing for the team because he's also not only challenging, the way we normally do press and has another outreach, but he's also brings a lot of, I would say, new dynamics into the team. And I actually felt that just having this new one team member, we were a diverse team already, but like another perspective yet again was kind of lifting the dynamics and kind of boosting a little bit of new energy. And in general, I think basically you just make better decisions the more brains and perspective that you can bring to the table. So that has been a good experience for me. And also today, now that I'm heading up another team, we have also like half Danish and non-Danes, and it's really great. I couldn't actually imagine, I think in Danish business, to not have diverse teams anymore. It has become such a fundamental part of the way we do business at Christian Hansen.
Right. Anything to add on that, Nadia?
I think we are also in Novo Nordisk in a kind of transition where this is also reflected in our top management, where we have more non-Danes in the top management. And I think that generally flows all the way through the organization. And in some ways, I think it doesn't matter at all what your background is, where you come from. Of course, maybe in some cases, you think about in some parts of the organization, it might be a good idea to be able to speak Danish, but I think in a lot of other functions, I don't even know the Danish names of some of the things that I'm working with, right? Because I've forgotten them. I even learned it in English in school, right? So I think it might even, it's not that important. And I think in the way that at least what we have seen in our department, it brings something new. It brings other perspectives, and I think that's the most beneficial. And I think also sometimes, I think, are you willing to move to Denmark to work for us? Then you are really dedicated, right? It's I think that surely also gives an impression of how dedicated it is. What's the motivation here? And I think you can end up having some really motivated colleagues because they really want to, make a change in their private life to work for you.
Great, thank you so much. And it's part of my job to keep the time schedule. So I can see some hands. So just two last comments. Trine first, and then you.
Yeah, a quick comment. I think that what seals the deal is often the match between the manager and the employee. And I think if we're thinking about sort of mass recruiting situation where we hire a lot of graduates once a year, and a lot of these graduates come from international backgrounds, I think the program that runs this, they make an effort to match personality so the employee and the manager can actually make a really good match because you have the skills, you have the profession, all of that is in order. So let's find the perfect match. So I think matchmaking is also an important thing to seal the deal.
Jon?
Real quick. So how we do that when we do the interviews is we talk about how do we make 40, 50 nationalities work together. So we don't take it for granted. And we're not saying somebody is right or somebody else is wrong, but we can't take for granted that people with different backgrounds and different cultures just do phenomenal development, just textbook. So we talk about that. We talk about that's a value of our company and why values are different than culture. We think values is what our company is based on, and then cultures might change, right? So there's a startup mentality, then there's a scale-up, and then there's, and so forth. And that is what seals the deal, because if we have a good conversation around that with the candidate, you know something is going on, and there's something that ties together from a personality standpoint. So that would seal the deal for me. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much, all of you, and thank you out there. I think we didn't I didn't get to put all your questions. You had really lots of them, all great, but I think we got most of them covered actually in other ways. So thank you all for your great questions, and thank you, of course, for great answers here. Thank you so much. So we are actually going to approach the last part of this day, and I would like, for part of the closing remarks, come closer to introduce you to Henrik Christiansen, who is the Senior Vice President for HR here at Demant. That's quite close to some of the issues we've been talking about right now.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Thank you.
Thank you, and first of all, I of course hope that you already had a lot of exciting insights, perspectives on sustainability. And I hope you will allow me to share a couple of my own personal perspectives and also some Demant perspectives on what really matters when you talk about sustainability. So having lived in and worked in 4 countries around the world for big companies, like Nokia, Statoil, Circle K, other companies like Grundfos. I know how important, I've experienced how important the culture of a company is to your sustainability efforts. So does your culture actually support the efforts that you're making on a sustainability level? And you know, I've had the pleasure of being part of this company for 2 years. And, you know, during those 2 years, I have experienced the sustainability of the culture of this company. So in 2019, when I joined in September, we had an IT crisis, which basically meant that all of our digital systems broke down and stopped our business. And we were in a crisis situation for more than 6 weeks, and still, of course, had to keep our business running. Then we got out of the IT crisis in late October, and then you know what happened in 2020. Then we got struck by a pandemic, and had to make our organization work continuously. And you know, I think the time where you really learn something about your culture is when you're in crisis. What actually characterizes the way you're operating? What actually characterizes the way people behave? So we decided that we would actually take the opportunity to ask our employees, what actually characterizes the culture of this fine company? So we involved people from all around the world, from various functions, in helping us describe what does the Demant culture actually look like. And I'd like to share with you some perspectives on this, because I think those are critical to the success of our company, to the sustainability of this company, having been in the market for so many years and constantly been on a growth trajectory. So first of all, as Trine already said, trust is critical. We need to be able to trust each other. And I think this value is a very sort of Scandinavian value, but I think there are many other places in the world where you will resonate with that. So being able to trust the people in the field when you don't have a full line of visibility to what is actually happening, you need to be able to trust the reports you're getting from them. You need to be able to trust that they are actually closest to the actions, and that they will make the decisions necessary to keep things moving. Another aspect of trust that we've seen during the pandemic has been, you know, many people have been working from home. So of course, you know, being old classic organizational people like me, you know, we were concerned about, you know, how will that impact productivity? Will people still work, or, you know, will they go shopping? Will they, you know, do leisure activities all the time? And of course, you know, even though you work from home, you're still absolutely crucially dependent on the deliveries of your project teammates and so on. And what we've seen and what we've learned from the pandemic is actually that productivity in some areas has gone up. So we have had to change definitely our perspective on how much work from home we can allow. And we have decided that we will actually allow managers and employees to have a discussion about what is the new normal about work life and working from home. Because we've learned that we can trust our employees. Another important aspect when things break down, processes, systems and so on, is of course that you can rely on that people connect with those that you need to connect with to get things done. So team playing. Making sure that you let others get the information they need to be able to do their work, focus on how we can help each other. That has been crucial to carry us through the experiences we've had with the two crises. Innovative solutions, of course, goes without saying. When you're in a crisis, nothing works as it used to, then you need to find new ways to do things. And the innovativeness of the organization and the innovativeness of the crowd, of the people in Demant has been compelling, I have to say. And of course, we have also had a strong focus on keeping the innovation momentum to the highest levels all the way through the pandemic. We have not let any people go home from our R&D organization. Some have actually suspended work for some R&D people in their organization because there was no work to do. On the contrary, we have said full speed ahead, which basically means that we've come out of the crisis much stronger. So we have products, we have solutions in the marketplace right now that are really beating our competitors, which is of course very nice to see. And then finally, maybe the most distinct value for Demant is the can-do attitude. No matter how black the sky looks, no matter how big the challenges are, IT crisis, pandemic, whatever, we always focus on getting things done, trying to find solutions, trying to find ways around the challenges that we are facing. And coming from other big organizations, I can tell you that one distinct feature, a characteristic of this organization, is that not once during those 6 months of the IT crisis or during the whole pandemic have I heard anybody talk about who was to blame for letting a cyber criminal into our systems, or who was to blame for not forecasting correctly of what would happen in the US market under the pandemic and so on. So this non-blaming culture is really something that I appreciate really highly. So those are some of the aspects that we believe are key to a sustainable business and that have proven that they will drive a sustainable business, because we have actually come out of these crises even stronger. And then, of course, we need to continue developing ourselves, continue developing our culture, our organization. And to be able to do that, we need more people, we need more diverse people. So that's why we have now launched an initiative focusing on more diversity and inclusion in our culture, because we need to embrace even more people with more nationalities. We currently have 30 plus nationalities at this site, but we want more nationalities because we actually serve the full world with our product portfolio. And then, of course, we also want a better distribution of genders across different management levels. So we are focusing heavily on that now, because we simply believe that having diversity and inclusion in our organization is key to our business success. And also to our ability to face some of the opportunities and the challenges that we are foreseeing in a successful manner. And we have some super interesting challenges in front of us. We have an industry that might be undergoing significant changes within a foreseeable future. We have devices out there, just an example here, a hearing device that can actually pick up the movement of your eye so that it can steer the directionality of your hearing device. So when I look at you, the hearing device will actually focus on your voice. And you can imagine all the other stuff you can do by getting all kinds of health data, voice over internet, all these kind of things you can use a hearing device for. They're huge opportunities. And we need people with various backgrounds, perspectives, personalities, genders, whatever, to provide insights on what can actually be done, because we believe the sky is the limit. So I think culture, inclusion, and being able to embrace diversity in an organization is absolutely critical to a business like ours. That is what will make us sustainable in the future. That is what has made us sustainable so far. And I just hope that you've had some insightful discussions today with some peers, that you've had some interesting provocating thoughts that you've been presented with. And then, of course, in all humbleness, I hope that you will consider joining Demant as a future employer, as a future place to write your thesis, master, PhD, whatever. We would love to welcome you, and I just hope to see some of you in the future somewhere. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Henrik. And of course, I do as well hope that the day has been inspirational and useful to all of you who have been joining us from everywhere in front of your screen. And of course, again, I'd like to say thank you so much for contributing with your questions through Slido. For the closing remarks from Copenhagen Capacity, I would like to introduce you all to Nikolaj Lubanski. He is the Director of Talent Attraction, and Nikolaj has really been working with advocating for international young talents like yourself for several years now, so he really is a true ambassador to all of you. So Nikolaj, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Natasha. And thank you so much for letting me wrapping up the day here. It's been a great pleasure. It's I'm normally a happy man, but now I'm even more happy man, because this has been a tremendous and a great day for all of us. So thank you so much, especially to Demant, for allowing us to use your great facilities and what facilities you have here. And of course, thanks to all the other companies that have joined in. And it's been really appreciated to have Novo Nordisk, Novozymes, KPMG, Maersk, Wunderman Thompson, Christian Hansen, and Bayer with us today. And for all of you, you've had a chance, you've contributed with great questions ongoingly, and that has really been inspiring to get your questions and get the discussions going. But tomorrow, you will have even more of a chance, where we are matching you up with specific companies, and you will have a chance to meet some of them even more further and get into introduction. So please get on board tomorrow as well and join and get to learn more about the companies. And then, of course, this is also when you wrap up, you also like to say thanks not only to Demant. It's been great. We've been working for several years on this, and now we're here, and that's a great pleasure from my side. But also, of course, I'd like to thank the partners in the big Talent to Denmark projects, which have contributed both with talent to this and also with activities that works generally in talent attraction and talent retention. That's been a great pleasure to work together with you. And I should not forget to thank as well the EU, the European Union, who has made it possible for us to co-finance this activities here, so we can do this, and that's a great asset. But of course, I think the most important is that I would like to wrap up a little bit on the content of today, because I think you've, as companies, really put it out clear that sustainability and the whole amount of doing an impact and a societal perspective of your company has proven to be extremely valuable. And I think we've had some great cases. We've seen that sustainability is very different, different strategies in different companies, very different approaches. But I think what is the most important that I've seen today, it's not only on the strategy or the employer branding level, which is also important, of course, but it's also down to earth practices, that you're doing something in your everyday life to make that change. And as several of you was actually saying from the company side and from the young talent in the companies, you were saying that I could become an ambassador for doing this change. And that is not only extremely important, I think, for our society, for Denmark, for the world as such, but it's also extremely important for your careers, that you actually take that perspective. And we've seen over the years that companies that are able to make an impact, that wants to go beyond their own company, wants to contribute, they are also the companies that attract great talent. Because we have investigated and made analysis of that many of you guys out there, that you are very fond and you are attracted by being able to make your job, do a job, and of course get a career, but at the same time, do an impact, have a purpose with your job. So I think that is probably the most important to conclude from today, is that we are not only here to do this for ourselves, we are here to do it for the world. And that's very often what the view I have on Denmark. We are a small spot on the planet, but we have actually a possibility of doing great things. And by developing great solutions in Denmark and having them out there and work into the world, that is the perspective where we really can punch about our weight, so to say. So I think it's been extremely inspiring to be here today, and I'm not only a happy man due to that, I'm also a happy man that everything worked, because this is hopefully some of the last only hybrid or digital events that we're going to do. And tomorrow it'll be full digitally, but you can contribute with all your great questions that you did today, and I really appreciate that you did that. And with all the functioning around Slido and the system there, you could see how many of your great questions that came through. So keep on the good pace of doing that tomorrow. So by wrapping up, there's of course a number of more people that I would like to say thanks. Thanks to the great team at Demant for being collaborative and very helpful of conducting this event. And of course, thanks to the team in Copenhagen Capacity, especially Georges. He's up there, that's why I'm looking up here. Georges has been a tremendous power force in getting this done. And the whole team around her, of course, a great thanks to. And then, actually, there's a person that we were just trying to count out how many international talent conferences have we done together. And we came up to 7. So I think I'll end by giving, and I think we should do a big round of applause to Natasha. So Natasha, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nikolai. I want to say that I think it's, 7, but I think it's the first time that you gave me kind of an applause here, so okay. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You were on a try for 6 times,
exactly.
And then on the 7th time it
then
worked.
I made it.
Yeah. We actually got some flowers for you.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful.
So
thanks
a lot.
Thank you.
You're really conducting, you're getting all the questions right. It's been a great pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, and I got great help from all of you again. So thank you.
Super. And with these words and a great thanks to Natasha, I'd just like to say thanks to everybody. As the overall responsible for the activity here, I'm of course happy and relieved that everything worked out, but we have a great day tomorrow. So please stay tuned and get into great dialogue with the companies tomorrow. So tune in for the second day of the International Talent Conference 2021. Thanks a lot from my side.